And on August 6th, officials reported, Canada's two largest freight railways are threatening to shut down operations on Thursday due to a labor dispute that is already impacting the movement of goods across both Canada and the United States.
Canadian railways transport over $350 billion worth of goods annually.
A sheriff's deputy in Georgia was shot and killed while responding to a reported domestic dispute in what police describe as an ambush by a suspect who later took his own life.
Deputy Brandon Cunningham, 30, and another deputy arrived at a home in a Hiram, Georgia subdivision when a male suspect opened fire.
President Biden's recent decision to partially suspend asylum processing at the southern border has resulted in a significant decrease in the number of migrants released into the U.S. interior.
This is News in 60 with Alan Edwards.
Ukraine has targeted a crucial bridge in Russia's Kursk region.
As statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
All sorts of technical difficulties here today.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about Kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Look at those. The room is full of ugly people. And that's just me. Morning, Tuesday, August 20. Love it. Good morning, people of Earth. Today is Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. 2 years ago today, we were doing a 12-hour mini padathon for Christine Levine. I was just seeing some of those clips come up in my memories today. A lot of people on there who have pretty much been persona non grata since then. It's funny because they did put together a little tribute video. But it is what it is. People move on with their lives doing other things. Christine, I was on her podcast while we taped it about 3 months ago, but it's not out yet. I don't get these people, and I'm not criticizing her. I don't get people who sit on episodes for. I don't sit on episodes for a second; they go live. But people who can sit on episodes for months and months before releasing them. The conversation is pretty old. No matter what you were talking about, there's going to be some dated references in there. I think we might have a good show for you today, but I say that every day, right? Don't I say that every day? What the hell is this? I'm sorry, Ron. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. What am I sitting on? We have Aaron Bullitt, who Kentucky Fried Comedian, who will be here to talk about Kentucky comedy again. And in the second hour, Jackie, the Joke Man Martling, who we will talk about. He's going to be over at Fire Island tomorrow night with Professor Peter Bales at Castaway, which is a bar and grill. A bar and grill that likes to basically, I just say it's LGBTQ XYZ friendly, very friendly. It's Fire Island, so we expect Jackie to come back a new man from that. Anyway, he'll be here probably 10 o'clock or something. If you watched the DNC stuff last night, you don't have a life. I mean, let's face it. The people on Twitter, I was here working on the website, by the way. It's not like I don't have other things to do, but I got Twitter on this thing. And people who are generally sports fans commenting on DNC, like these are people who don't miss like a pitch or a play in any of the sports. There are four major sports. They're on every game. They're commenting live in real time on the DNC like it's important to them. You're not going to learn anything new. You're not going to learn anything about any of the issues. It's a party. It's like the Oscars. We just want to celebrate us type of thing. That's for the movie people, and this is for Democrats. It's a rah-rah, shish kumbah, put on your cheerleader outfit, rah-rah, shish kumbah. That's what you're into, that's what you're into. But you're not going to learn anything, and to me, it's a waste of a lot of money. But so if you watched it, you're more informed about whatever happened or whatever was said there than I am by far. All I know is what people said on Twitter, and from what I gather, what people said on Twitter, it was that the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, is a clown. She should play herself on Saturday Night Live, is what people are saying. Now, I can't imagine what she might have said. That, I mean, they go up there with pre-written speeches, and it's not like she's improvising anything. How could it have been that bad? But I guess I have to watch and find out. If you did and you want to comment on it, leave a comment. Let us know. You can join in the conversation. We are going to play a brief commercial, and then we'll be back to ask Ron Kane why he is leaving these rude or, I don't know, inappropriate comments in the private chat. That's what we will do when we get right back.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Now, I say, you want to get the party started now. Ron is stealing my spot. Steven is stealing GD's spot. And it is morning now. We have the fabulous Ron Kane, who leaves inappropriate comments in your private chat room that you have no idea what he's talking about. And then we have Steven, the anarchist sitcom Ortiz, who is raising hell in Michigan. And we have in the electronics and home appliances department, my best friend of the last 37 years, Mr. PC Richard. PC.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com, the place to go to get all of your mercenary gear. We have camouflage. I'm sorry, I didn't write anything. Fuck it. This is it. You called my bluff. I forgot to write.
That's what I like that. I like that. Fuck it. I didn't write anything. Fuck this. I like it.
My Dog TV, blah, blah, blah. Enjoy the suffering.
Blah, blah, blah. Mercenary. Buy shit. Buy shit. Buy shit.
Yeah, buy stuff. Yeah, buy stuff. Buy stuff from your Coffee with the Dog mercenaries.
Yeah. I'm mailing it in today. I'm tired. I'm burnt on this fucking show. I'm burnt. Can you tell I'm burnt?
No, you still look white to me.
Oh. It was not going live this morning because I had Twitter still plugged in. And the Twitter and Musk decided to fuck with StreamYard and send back a do not allow. And all of a sudden we got bells and whistles going off. I don't know if you guys could see that in the back end, but Musk is not happy with people who took advantage of streaming on Twitter while it was free. And now he's an evil guy. He's just an evil guy. Bad man. Did you guys watch the DNC last night? You did. You're wasting your lives. You know you did.
Parts of it. I didn't watch from 9 to 10.
And you wanted to electrocute yourself afterwards, or did you want to just like sit on hard cocks?
No. I didn't sit on my cock at all.
So why is Ron writing that in the chat room that you're sitting on?
I don't know what he was doing.
He said GD likes to sit on a hard cock.
Oh, I didn't say that I didn't like it. I said I didn't do it.
Now, Matt, don't go try turning this on GD. We know how much you love bears and otters, so you were talking about sitting. So hard cocks.
I've never stabbed a bear and intended to eat it, but dumped it in Central Park. I've never.
No, but it sounds like you've had a few bears possibly stab you, and that's okay, Matt. Whatever floats your boat.
Wait a minute, man. You have a boat? You have a boat and didn't invite us?
I don't know. I don't have a boat. My boat sank.
It's where him and the bears meet.
Yeah. No boat.
That's how those animals are getting to your little island. They're using your boat.
Yeah, and we had more flooding yesterday, by the way. I don't know if you guys. Yesterday we had like probably another 50 inches of rain.
Damn.
Yeah, crazy. And this has been the worst August weather-wise that I can remember in a long time. So
yeah,
it's gorgeous here.
We got rain yesterday, but now today it's like fall outside today.
Yeah, that's what we got here. It's 76 degrees today with a high like 20% humidity, no clouds. Sweat.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm fat. Look at me. Of course I love that.
Fat. I don't know what it is here. I went outside and fed the animals and I didn't pay attention.
He's fat.
Yeah, I'm fat.
What does that have to do with the weather? Fat is a weather thing?
No, but fat guys prefer cooler weather because while you can only take so much off, you can always put more on.
That was my mom's philosophy.
You can't always put more on if you're fat. You got to get you got to get bigger coats, bigger clothes, and then you don't.
Wait, Matt, are we talking about fat people or fat cocks? Because I know your mind's a little split at the moment.
No, I've never seen a fat cock.
I don't believe you at all.
A little skinny thing.
I did check. So me and my wife did check out the DNC last night, close to like 11 o'clock.
Is this a euphemism? Is this a euphemism? Is this about to turn into one of those dirty sex Ron stories?
Well, I mean, it did turn into that.
Called BBC, not DNC.
He said DNC. That's dicks and clits.
Yeah, just we conventioned and chilled last night. That's all.
See, this is one of those stories that Ron would usually tell me on a Tuesday night when we're waiting for people to show up at New York, but we don't have that tonight. So he's got to have his outlet.
Yeah,
Did Grindr crash again?
Look, I even have my wife's mug since using her mug today, and it's Donald Trump.
Interesting. Where's your buddy Aaron Bullitt? Is he coming? He's your buddy. You're
I hadn't talked to him since the last time you guys talked to him. I mean, I saw his Willie video. Yeah, he did a Willie video of his Willie, and he was dipping into some Doritos. No, not Doritos.
What do you mean? What's a Willie video?
Oh, he has a he's one of those comedians who does characters. You can't understand that kind of shit. That's stupid. But he has a character named Willie, and Willie is like a big fat guy who likes to eat snacks, and he does these videos of Willie eating snacks. You know, and first of all, I think it's hack for a comedian to develop characters like that. It's hack comedy. It's stupid.
Yeah,
but that's what he does.
It's about as dumb as online shows, you know.
Almost. It is almost as dumb as online shows.
It's one thing if you're doing it for like a show that is like SNL. If you're doing a character for that, that's one thing. Not that I think I haven't watched SNL in a very long time, but I mean
They
that's
don't
one
do characters anymore.
Huh?
They don't do characters anymore.
Of course
they don't even do humor.
Of course they do.
They don't even do jokes anymore.
Seriously?
No, it's almost like a documentary.
So like when I don't know, no, because they have people doing characters, even if they're based on real life characters. They have people doing recurring roles of characters.
I don't know where you get your information from, but that's not what happens on Saturday Night Live now. You must be watching reruns from like last week.
What happened? What happened?
I don't know.
You don't know. You haven't watched it in longer than I have.
No, my wife and I would tune in. We see who the host is.
You can't ask him about You can't ask him about relevant entertainment things.
You can't ask him about stuff from the 1970s that were like, top of the chart stuff. Who's that? I never heard of him. Never mind relevant. He doesn't.
I thought it was weird when GD texted me. He was like, "Have you ever heard of this little band called Journey?" And I was like, "All right."
Well, my wife was telling me about Journey. Apparently, she used to have one of their albums.
Ron loves Journey. I don't know if you know this. Ron is he's conflicted over who he loves more, Journey or Boston. But I think it's Journey.
I think it's Boston because he has a Boston stamp tramp right above his.
He's gonna trick us all, and it's gonna be ABBA.
I gotta
Hey, at least the lead singer of Boston retired as the lead singer of Boston. Come on, Steve Perry, get it together.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck, man, loser.
I'm gonna retire that way on air today. If I had a manila envelope, I'd pull out what was that guy's name? Bud something, San Francisco guy. I got asked to play an ABBA song at the last gig of acoustic show I was at. Somebody requested I do an ABBA song. I was like, the guys never sang. I never heard. Can you think of it? Well, not like you would know, but ABBA's material. But can you think of any song that the guys sang the lead on? Any of it?
The lead? No, I was thinking of Afternoon Delight, but I don't think did they take turns on that?
That was two chicks. The two chicks sang that though, but I don't remember.
The guys didn't sing that at all.
I don't know. I don't know.
Weird. The two chicks are singing Afternoon Delight. Now the song takes on a whole new meaning to me.
And it's a different fucking band.
Oh yeah, that's not ABBA, right?
No.
Who is it? Who's Afternoon Delight?
I don't know. I don't know. When you said Afternoon Delight, I just assumed it was an ABBA song, but now I'm kind of thinking it might not have been.
Thank God Ron's here as a super ABBA fan to correct us when we're wrong. So
it's
right.
Starlight Vocal Band.
It's a
Starlight Vocal Band. That's right.
Afternoon. Yeah.
All right.
Starlight Vocal Band. Okay, I stand corrected.
Did they have any other songs? That was it. They were a one-hit wonder.
Who, ABBA?
No, the Starlight Vocal, whatever, the Afternoon Delight.
Well, I think they did Evening.
Yeah. They broke up and they became Crack the Sky.
And I think they did a song called Convention and Chill right after Afternoon Delight.
No, wait a minute.
They originally formed Crack the Sky, which finally gave them the courage to kill themselves.
Hey, you guys, stop talking about Crack the Sky. They're the best band that never made it big.
I was working on the website last night, putting together a guest gallery. I want to show you what I got here, and I couldn't think of like impressive guests that we've had on. ran out of. I know I've had more than I don't know. You guys probably weren't there for them, but here, let me show you who I got. This guy, G.D. Fenderson. I remember he was a guest, and this guy who became an anarchist, and then Ron Kane, who everybody knows. He's like the most famous guy from Pennsylvania ever. Eric Roberts, Paul Provenza, Dick DiBitetto. That's last name. Erica Rhodes, Doug Stanhope. He's a Brendan Walsh, Katie Hannigan, Liberty DeVito, Tommy Chong, Marina Franklin, Bill Fichtner, Dave Landau, Christine Levine, who I talked about already this morning, Henry Phillips, Jackie, Sarah Telemush, Robert Klein, Andy Andrus, Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction, Kenny Arnoff from the John Mellencamp Band, Eddie Brill, Vanessa Hollingshead, Sam Talent, Mark Farner, Eva Lavia, the only porn star I could think of. I know I've had more than one porn star on here. Billy Wayne Davis, Matt Knutson, Carl Mann, and Rob Bartlett. There have been at least 100 or 200 more notable people on here. I can't remember.
What about the redhead who was like used to be a escort?
Oh yeah.
And she like got a musical or a play or something out.
What's her name?
I don't know. You were the one who was like masturbating to her. I was barely.
Oh my god!
How could you tell that from there?
It was in your voice.
Wow.
Yeah,
No, so I wasn't watching it. I was listening to it.
Oh, come now.
No, that was come before, not come now.
I hope Aaron Bullitt doesn't think he's joining us in the second hour, because Jackie will not let him talk anyway. And could you write to him and say, hey, what's going on? What do you got?
I'm doing that right now. I'm texting him.
Yeah, very disappointing. He just like this is a reschedule from the last time when he didn't show up. And basically, I know he doesn't have any gigs to promote. Basically, well, what would you say about how I should get my career going? Well, you know what? Get out and fucking work. That's how. I'm a broken record with that. I'm a broken record with everything. But if you wanna work, go work. That's it.
Yeah, I sent him a text. It just says, "Where are you?"
And he says,
"I don't know.
I'm in Kentucky, man. I'm in Kentucky. I'm with what's his name? Well, what's
they don't call it Kentucky for nothing.
Reed
Metcalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I messaged him. I said, "Where are you at? Don't give me 3/5 of an excuse. Hurry up."
Reed's been missing for quite some time. I'm really concerned. I don't think he's alive anymore. I think fishes.
I don't know. I don't even know if he was ever a real person. I'm looking him up again. It's not like the first time. Oh, he's back on. He's back online. Yes, he's on.
No, Aaron, it is not.
Speaker Hub. See, Reed is on Speaker Hub. This seems to be a new profile. So he's resurfaced. He's back on Twitter, on X, or whatever you want to call it. I'm still calling it Twitter. We got to get in touch with Reed and find out what happened to him. He's in Arlington, Texas now. How about that? He's not in Kentucky anymore. You care? You don't seem to care.
Aaron says he's at 10:15. I just said no, you're not.
No, he's not. He's not on 10:15. He's on 9:15. Look at it. Look at what he picked. See, this is the problem with these people. We're gonna have to do away with people.
Yeah, we might just have to start interviewing fish.
Matt says you're at 9:15. Jackie is at 10:15.
That's correct.
Get your fat black ass.
It's a creative thing. You really, some of these creatives, you really have to wrangle.
Well, I'm too old to wrangle. I just will get your fat black ass in here now.
That's good. I like that fat black ass. Not that I like fat black ass. Don't get me wrong with that. He's here now. We're not going to let him in though. We'll just let him sit there till 10:15. Oh no, that's Steven. Steven on another. What are you doing, Steven? What the hell are you doing?
I don't know what's happening.
You're weird. You're weird now.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do I do? I leave this one in and that one out and that
Aaron
one
says
open.
he'll be on in a sec.
All right. Well, Steven might not be on in a second. I don't know. He went to black on the tablet. This is what he looks like now.
Got it. Okay.
All right, let me get out of here. You screwed everything up. Like technically, we weren't screwed up enough today.
Well,
what was I saying? Do you remember what I was saying?
Yeah.
All right.
I
was going to ask Ron about the ongoing, the never-ending, the Mr. Tongue's Tongue Fest last night.
Mr. Tongue last night. We had a pretty decent
Tongue
turnout.
Fest.
Yeah, we had a pretty decent turnout considering it was back to school week. We had like 9 audience members and just a handful of comics.
You have to get to the point where there is no qualification. We had a good turnout. Not considering it was like Hanukkah, or not considering it was like I
think that's very important because it shows that we're still drawing people even when most people give up and do not come out to things.
I know. So considering Wounded Knee was 164 years ago, it was a good turnout. Considering Lincoln got shot once.
Yeah. Otherwise, how was the show, Mrs. Lincoln?
For an open mic on a Monday night, yeah, you got to talk about those things.
All right.
But the doghouse is no more, at least for the time being, because I guess.
So what are you going to do with your Tuesday night? Sit home and watch the DNC?
No, I'm actually kind of happy that I don't have to do it now for a while. I mean, it was fun to do, but it was locking up my Tuesday. So, that mic ran for almost 2 years. So it's a good break because I only need to run 1 open mic a week. That's enough. It's time for other people to fucking step up. So I might do something else on Tuesdays, but I have to find the right venue. So
Mike Chavola is going to be running an open mic here in Long Island. It's I don't know, at like NAMBLA, some NAMBLA club or something.
Well, those Trumpers definitely need some kind of humor because on Saturday at the campground we had this older couple show up, and the guy was wearing a Trump hat, and he just looked fucking miserable the entire time. She looked miserable because she's like, I'm stuck with this fucking asshole, and he's not any fun.
Well, let me just correct you there. Mike Chavola is not a Trumper. He's not a Trumper. He's according to him, he's not a Trumper.
Oh, he's a Trumper.
He says no. He's not a Trumper. He just loves Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like one of those guys that'll say that. Then when you start talking bad about him, he's like, "Oh no, that guy is innocent," and blah blah blah. And it's
Trump was in New York yesterday. Trump was in New York yesterday, Ron.
Oh yeah,
when he was in New York.
When I had a show yesterday at a cannabis company's company picnic, which I didn't get to perform at because they cut the show early because they couldn't handle the other comics, and on our way to York, like 83 North was closed off for like miles, and the traffic was backed up. They had traffic backed up from like Route 30 almost to like Shrewsbury.
Damn,
it was crazy.
Wow. Matt, you may not understand the length of that, but it would be appropriate for you to go, wow, that's serious shit. Yeah.
No, I did see video of the roads backed up in Pennsylvania yesterday. Like, I don't know who deals with it. I would not like that. You're shutting down my roads, man. Fuck you.
No, that's what I said to Laura. It's like, this guy is trying to appeal to the working man, and then you fucking show up at an event at 3:30 in the afternoon when fucking people are trying to get home for rush hour. So it's like
rush hours. You know what? Rush hour used to not start till 5 p.m. All of a sudden, it's starting like 3:15. Every day, it gets like a minute earlier. It's like the seasons, except it never stops getting earlier. And that, to me, that's a pain in the ass. It's like you gotta outsmart when everybody else is planning on getting out early. Yeah, basically, we're moving the clock back without moving the clock back. Set your clock back.
That's what people are doing. They're just like, well, they say, can I leave a little bit early because I'm trying to avoid rush hour traffic, which used to be 5, and so they started leaving at like 4:50, 4:45, and now it's like, and then those people start clogging it up, and so now everybody's like, pretty soon it's going to be like, can I just not come in today because I'm trying to avoid rush hour traffic?
Yeah.
Well, Matt, you know all about this. Years ago, when I was working in Brooklyn, and when I was working in Brooklyn, the one guy that I worked with, he lived on Long Island, and so he had to leave at noon every day because he said if I leave at 1, it's going to take me fucking 3 hours to get home. Versus if I leave at 12, I can be home in like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Wow.
I used to drive for the government. We'll not talk about which agency again. As a courier in the early 80s, and the Brooklyn Queens Expressway was being worked on, and every day it was a clusterfuck all day long. And if you go there today, they're still working on the same projects they were in 1982 all day long.
Is it the same crew?
I don't know if it's the same crew. But it's like,
God damn it, my shovel. I've been waiting for a shovel since 83.
When are they going to finish this project? Ever? Or it just goes on and on? It's like the never ending. Oh, we fixed that. Oh, but back there, I guess we got to start over again or whatever. It's like that.
You got to give them time because the crew is aging out, so they got to replace people.
Speaking of aging out crews, we have the founder of Middleman.
Yo, what's good, gentlemen? That's my B. I thought my interview was at 10:15 instead of 9:15, and I don't mind being stereotypically late. I don't. It's my reparations. I don't.
Yeah, we're on EST, not CPT.
I know. Hey, hey, you know, it's close to elections. They need my black vote, so I'm like, I need later times.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's good, y'all? How y'all doing?
Not bad, man.
Good.
What's up?
Welcome back. Now, why are you not the Kentucky Fried Comedian?
Why am I not? Well, because I would be, but see, Colonel Sanders stole his recipe from some black people, so I can't even get that. So you see, it's these small things that happen in Kentucky.
The Kentucky over-fried comedian.
Yes, over-fried.
Burnt.
Actually, under-fried because
burnt.
again, I'm trying to get a case where I can prove that my ancestor is one of those 11 herbs and spices. That's where I'm at currently in my life. It's going all right, not too bad, but you know, we'll see.
Spices is a politically trigger word now. You're not allowed to say spices. Oh wait, only if you're a white guy, right? You're not allowed to say spices. I don't know if I got that
you also
right.
can't say herbs because that plant might identify as a hemp, so you never know.
So right. I'll say herbal and advancements. That's what I'll say. That's more politically correct.
So, what is new with you? Have you been working? Have you been hustling? Or somebody told me this was a rumor we heard that he just did a Willie video.
I did. I've been hustling, been working. Actually, but I've been getting into acting a little bit more, improv. Still doing stand up. Actually, traveling a lot, but I feel like for me, I kind of want to expand my bag, you know, a little bit as a comedian. So for me, I've been thinking about I did improv when I first started a couple of years ago, but the improv troupe that I was working with, they dissolved, shit like that. But I really feel like improv has been helping me in my stand up because it's allowing me to. I used to be kind of person where, excuse me, that I feel like I had to be prepped.
Was that a cunt hair?
Huh?
Was that a cunt hair?
No, it's a little pussy hair. Look, it's just a little bit. That's from Tuesday.
I can't believe the language on this program. It's just so offensive.
So offensive. I agree, but yeah,
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Was that vaginal floss?
Vaginal floss. There you go. That would be a good product. Some vaginal floss. Like those hairs still stuck in your teeth from last night. That'd be funny. I like that. But yeah, I've just been doing a lot more. I've been traveling a lot more. Put myself in writing, just improv. You know, I feel like as a comedian, I love it, but I want to start doing other things. I want to, you know, expand into acting. I want to even doing virtual stuff, like doing virtual open mics. Actually got put on a virtual game show. I did open mic at the Laughing Buddha last night, and I got put on to it. So been working, been grinding, just doing different things. I even submitted for I don't know if you guys have heard of it. This thing, it's called Y'all Comedy. Y'all and Laughter. So it's like a nonprofit. Basically, they're looking for diversity in comedy. Me and my partner April, we submitted a script for it. So, things have been pretty good. Still working on that goal and find that second city. So whatever I can do to get there, I'm willing to do.
Now, my question about you acting is that if you look at television, most of your black actors on commercials anyway are bald, except for 3 guys. One of them has a fade, and one of them has like a curly afro. But everybody else is like bald. Are you going to shave your head so that you can try to fit into what they want a black man to look like thing?
Well, that's a good question. I actually want
to Matt, write that down.
I want to enhance the role. I want to enhance the looks of black people in media. I feel like the bald look, it's cool. You got Jordan, you got Barkley, but I feel like hair is in, especially for my generation. I want to keep my hair. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. If the part requires me to shave my head and the money's right, I'll do it. But I just feel like that's one thing I kind of actually been thinking about lately, is that I think that's actually something in comedy. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I feel like it's kind of like now when you see commercials, they think diversity is just like a mixed couple, and they think, oh, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with it. My ex-wife is white. That's cool. But I just find that funny. Like when you look at stuff, that's how they feel like the world's getting better by, like, you know what? Let's put an interracial couple in here. It's fine. Typically, black man with a white woman. That'll sell products. That'll show that we're not racist anymore. So.
Now, was your ex-wife always white, or was she black and she turned white after you divorced?
She used to be black. She wants to be known as black.
Well, she was one of those white women that said, like, I feel black on the inside. And I was like, well, bitch, you can still get arrested. That don't work for me.
That's called sex with a black man. If you have sex with a black man, you're going to feel black on the inside.
That's the black, and now she wants to be known as black.
And the only reason I married this white woman is because property taxes. Look, I'd walk through my neighbors and be like, look, you want your rent down? I got you. Just and it works. Plus, I'd have her go in and sign stuff. Yeah, it's advantages. But now I'm with the beautiful sister, which I love, and I feel like again, there's nothing wrong. But I just find that funny. Like that's what they, instead of actually creating diversity and having new faces and looks, they just feel like interracial couples. That's how we'll do it. That's how we'll fix America.
Now, Aaron, I think for the sake of the audience, you need to explain, because they all know you're from Kentucky. And when you're saying you're with a beautiful sister, that she's not actually a blood sister, she's a sister.
I know, yes, which is funny, because when I was in the Navy, I like out of like 300 people that was in my NDOT class, like new sailors, I was the only person from Kentucky. So literally for like 30 minutes, they were like, "Oh, you from Kentucky?" And I'm like, I mean, it happens, yeah, but not me. Like, or they were like, what's it like to have shoes? What's it like to have electricity? So it's weird when I talk to people that aren't from Kentucky, especially knowing there's black people, and they're like, "Is Kentucky racist?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it has its racism." Like, for example, did you guys know that all the human waste in the city of Louisville goes in a mostly black neighborhood? Now that's some shit, literally. Like that's what? Those kind of things you find. So I like that I'm traveling more and doing more things, and I get those conversations of what's it like being black.
Wait, what was that? Say that again, because my brain, it's still Tuesday morning over here. I don't
basically
know what day it is over there.
They like where I live in Louisville, Kentucky is I think Kentucky black people make up 8% of the population in Kentucky, right? Out of that 8%, Louisville, Kentucky that's the heaviest population of black people in the state. And people ask me, what's it like being black in Kentucky? I tell them it can be a little racist, because all like the human waste in the city goes in a black neighborhood. Like,
wow.
So, no, literally. And that's some shit. So that's why I'm traveling, doing stuff. I tend to find that's a conversation I have with people. Is like, what's it like being black in Kentucky? Is it racist? All this stuff. So the more I put myself out there, the more I add that to my material of like, well, what's it like? What it's like being black in Kentucky? Because you just don't hear. I mean, most people think Muhammad Ali, but that's generally it. You do have Static Major. He's a music producer. I don't know. That might be too young for some of you, but yeah, I just feel like that's kind of what I'm pushing, is breaking those stereotypes and showing people that like black people are everywhere. Don't think we're just in Atlanta and Detroit. No, we're everywhere.
Montana. They're not.
I'm sorry. Because you're black.
That's funny.
We're not in Montana, and I think there's 7 blacks in Wyoming.
Wow, that's good. But Steven, man, hey, Steven, Ron, I've been seeing you guys hustling out there in the comedy. I'm glad to see you guys today. Hey, y'all been hustling and working, doing shows. I love seeing that when it comes on my
Appreciate
feed.
it, man.
Thank you.
No problem.
But Steven's a comedian. I'm just finding out this. I thought he was a political activist.
Are you kidding? He has a #1 hit song about vans and handicap accessible kidnappers.
So Aaron, you're saying that like the diversity in comedy is not quite enough. Like when you only see the one black guy on an all white show, like all the fucking time.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. I literally had a conversation with my partner April about that. I did open mic here in Louisville and in Cincinnati, and both times I was the only black person. And as white comedians help me out with this, like what is like the whole open mic? All I heard was I want to fuck a black guy, I want to eat a black guy, I want to be a black guy, which I don't mind it. Like I don't mind being the only brother in a comedy show. That's not really a big thing. It's just like, it's just funny the things you hear. Cause like for me as a black comedian, I do know that I could say like, what's up crackers? Or what's up white people? And they get a laugh and they say things. But then like when it comes to other like white comedians, they're like, oh, I wish I was black. I wish I could say the N-word. Or I've actually
Ron wants to be black. This is why he only hangs out with black guys.
I know Ron Kane. That sounds like a brother name. I ain't gonna lie. If you were to talk to Ron Kane, I'd be like, all right, I'd have some Hennessy with that brother. I'd hear what he has to say about his.
Well, I think he looked down and saw his cock and said, "I wish I was a black guy."
Hey,
That's
Aaron,
about where it starts.
Every time when I had this AI app for pictures, and every time that I would put my picture in there, the AI would make me black first.
I'm telling you, like for real. I was like Ron Kane. I was like, that is a brother name. He sounds like a pretty cool dude. He could fix a car.
No, that definitely is a black name. I mean, without a doubt, Ron Kane sounds.
Name.
It sounds like a guy who used to play like middle linebacker for the Phillies.
It's a porn name. I mean, that's except for.
Do you guys notice that? Like, do you guys notice when go to open mics or like when you do stuff? Like how that works, like in comedy, you might see like one or two black people, or like, do you guys feel like
not here, not here?
If I see black people at a mic, so
this is a birthright for him. He was born to that. Anytime he sees black people, he goes in a different direction. Here, no, we have probably a much higher percentage of black people than Kentucky does, but
definitely much higher.
We have a lot of black comedians here. I mean, shows are where and very diverse. I mean, we have women, we have black women, we have brown women, we have Asian people, we have all sorts. I mean, we talk about diversity and equity and inclusion, all of that in the comedy scene here. So I can't kind of relate because what I know, you could go to a comedy club and be the token white guy. Why don't you go?
Shots fired, Ron.
An embarrassment to all white men. He's not an embarrassment.
I saw that. I was like, you're right.
Well, that guy is very frustrated because he likes to wear lingerie and push people over in wheelchairs.
He's been trying to figure out. He's been trying to figure out why he gets an erection every time he tunes into the show, and he can't figure out that it's because of all the dudes. So, yeah.
I need to address something that was said earlier. You said that's a good question to GD, and that was a good question about you shaving your head. Every once in a while, when somebody says that's a good question to him, they mean that was a good question to him. But often, when they say that's a good question, they mean that's something I never thought about before because it's useless information that nobody will ever need that adds no value to anybody's life. That's what they mean when they say. That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, why you got me thinking about shit like this that makes no sense to anybody and brings no value to the table? That's what they mean by that. But
then that's what they should say, because otherwise, you know what I hear? That's a good question. That's what I hear.
Yeah, it's a good question. If you had sex with your sister in a time machine and came back with a green dick in your nose, what would that mean to you?
Oh, you've been reading Matt porn. That's what that means.
And I get a GD. I get it. You know, I know you see it, get the ball like that. Is that I do have ball plans in the future, just not now. I know the forehead. See, look, I put it right here. I'm like, it would work for me.
Moving.
But again,
it's like rush hour. It's moving back a minute every day.
And you got Jordan, you got Barkley. I get where you're going. Like that's the trajectory of black actors and famous is going bald. I think it's a thing. But
well, it's not that I don't think it's a trajectory. I don't think that black actors want to go bald. I think that the people who are casting have an idea of what a black person should look like. And I think that's been ruined by people like, which one is it, Key or Peel? Which one is it? The tall bald
it's Key. Yeah, Michael Key. He's bald.
Okay, yeah, right. And so they've and they can't afford him for their commercials anymore. So they're getting many people as they can look like him to fill those spots.
You got to be careful if you shave your head though, because I recommended that to Steven and we found out his head looks like a fucking moon crater. You can't. You got to be careful. You have to know what's under there. You have to do an exploratory MRI to find out what kind of geography and topography you have underneath there.
Matt's basically saying make sure you have guys rubbing on your head.
You got to have a head like this.
A phrenologist. You just go to a phrenologist. They can feel your head and tell you what to expect.
Yeah. So the improv stuff, are you doing this with a steady group of people, or you're meeting new people to do improv with? So we say yes.
So he's improvising by improvising with the people he's improvising with.
Yeah, improv is about saying yes. So suck my cock.
Apparently, it is like sex with Kobe Bryant. You can't say no. But I mean,
right.
So they have it's like this internet troupe that I found. I just was randomly looking it up because I want to do some locally, but you got to pay, which is fine. But I forgot the name of the group. But they have this group where you can go, you get like 20 sessions. You just go and I've been doing it for a couple of weeks, and it's pretty cool. But I mean, I'm not doing it formally. It's just to get myself out there because here in Louisville, they're really trying to. Louisville's one of the top 10 final cities for Sundance. So like here, film has really been popping up and short film. So I was like, you know what? Again, I love stand up, but I'm like, I kind of want to expand. I wouldn't mind getting into acting, but which is weird because the only thing about improv I do find funny is that like for me, it might just be me naturally. I'm naturally good at like bullshitting. So people are like, you gotta vision yourself. You gotta do this, and I'm just kind of like chilling when I do it. But I tend to find I like honestly, weirdly enough, I like stand up more than acting. Acting's fine, but it's just something about remembering lines and all this stuff. It just kind of I'm open to it, but that's why I love stand-up is because I can do it my own way, and I can make a joke or I can make whatever I'm doing more. I can get more out of it because with acting, you got to deal with like directors and producers, and I want to do this, but in my head, we should go this way. So it made the lane, and my goal personally in comedy is I want to help make it to where stand-up is like music, because like Kanye doesn't need to act if he doesn't have to. Michael Jackson doesn't have to act, but I do find I love y'all opinion about this. Like Michael, you tend to find
Matt wins the prize.
A lot of comedians turn into acting. Why do y'all think that? Why do you think a lot of comedians?
Before they address that, you said something a few seconds ago, and I can't get it out of my fucking head. And you said they charge you to join improv.
Yeah.
Why, and why would someone pay, and why would they charge you? I don't understand.
Because I got the answer. Go ahead, you answer
it. Yeah, you answer it.
His hands were soft and supple.
That is the answer. Basically, improv is about saying yes, and once you've paid your money, you're committed. Now you can't leave.
Improv is about saying yes and.
Yes, but okay.
Yes, and.
Suck my cock. Yes, and it tastes good.
Right. And then the next person says yes and. That's what improv is all about.
And so it's you can't chicken out. That's what Ron's trying to tell you there.
You need to know about improv.
You can't.
You can pay me.
Once you've paid your money, you're not going to you're less inclined to chicken out and say, fuck this. I'm going to say no. I'm going to throw a fucking monkey wrench in this improv thing and say no, but instead of yes, and.
Yeah, that's why I did the free one, because like I do agree. Like I think the Improv 502 on the place I won, they wanted like 250 for like 6 weeks, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not saying I'm better. I just feel like if it were like 50, maybe 100, cool, but like 250, like nah. That's I go to open mics for free. I can do other things. So I just why do you guys think that? Why do you think a lot of actors? I mean, why do a lot of stand-up comedians turn to acting?
Because they never really wanted to be a stand-up comedian in the first place. They did it for fame. And a lot of people, whatever, it's not just comedians, musicians, even actors just do it. They're not really in love with the craft. They are doing it as a means to an end. And the means to an end is fame and money. And however you get there, whatever tools you use to get there don't really matter. And, you know, sitcoms, big money in that if you can get into a sitcom, or if you can get into, they pay, whereas doing open mic nights for the rest of your life doesn't pay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the guy who has a few dollars and a cheese sandwich for me. Ian's trying to do Mitch Hedberg in text format. It doesn't necessarily translate well into text, but Hedberg has a bit about comedian, can you act and write us a script? It's like saying, okay, you're a chef, can you farm? Of course, Hedberg would do it, and it would be funny, but just reading it like that.
Ian, what you need, what's the only thing that's missing is that you actually need a bass line underneath of it. So if you could rewrite it, but put the bass line in there so we know what notes to hear with each word, that would help us.
Baseline?
Yeah, because Mitch Hedberg had a bass player that played underneath of his material, and that's what made him funny.
I've seen a lot of Mitch Hedberg. I've never seen anything with a bass player underneath playing underneath.
That's what made him funny. It was the bass player. It wasn't the
Ron, Stephen, what do you guys think on the subject? Why do you think a lot of comedians turn to acting after a certain point?
I think something to do. It's something to do, and depending where you're at in stand up, I think depending on the type of creative you are, you might just get bored and things like that. So you're like, I just at least need to challenge myself, because I find myself like doing that with shows. I'll produce certain shows just to challenge myself to see if it keeps me interested in things like that. So I think it's more just a challenge and just another creative outlet.
And I think it's part of what Matt said about the money, but also I think it's because they ran out of material and they're tired of writing, and they want somebody to write for them.
Well, there are people on Long Island who were big in the 80s. I'm not going to mention their names, but they were national headliners during the 80s. They're still working locally, doing the same act. They have not written one piece of new material since 1980 or so. Like, still doing the same thing. And it's not just one guy. I could probably name a dozen of them if I were going to go down the names of people who are just doing that. They stopped writing.
Yeah, I opened up for a comedian like that who's been doing comedy since like the 80s, and his material was still like 80s based, and I felt bad for him because he was also a very angry comedian. He was very angry.
I felt bad for him because all my comedy was based in the 90s, not the
exactly.
Like, coming up soon.
It's like, oh, this old fuck. There's all this old 80s material. Come on, man. Wake up. Talk about the 90s.
Like, it's like, who still has a Walkman? You're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I mean, and for me, I feel the same way you do, guys. Because it's funny, I've been actually watching, I don't know if you guys have seen the show. It's called BoJack Horseman. It's on Netflix. Yeah. It's a really good show. I love that show. And it's funny that you kind of see that of like, I think the same way. I think it's more about creativity. Like for me, I like the challenge. I like stand-up more because it challenges you more. Like Ron said, I like that, you go different places, you go different people, you write different materials. Acting, For me, I feel the opposite. I feel like it's kind of boring because you got lines and it seems cushier, but you tend to find like there's gaps. So it's like you've seen certain like SNL crew, like they'll do their season for a while, then they go into stand up. But I like the challenge of stand up. I like how I'm constantly thinking, I'm writing, I'm searching, and I feel like with acting, because it can be so sparse depending on whether you're an agent or just projects. I like knowing that, like with stand up, it's more about me. You know, if I want to go hard and I want to book myself for 20 shows and be on the road,
take a blue pill. You want to get hard, just take a little blue pill. I got them.
Well, like Saturday Night Live is still like the farm system for the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And you can see like when people go in there and kind of like how they like break those people out. Like you'll see somebody goes into movies. Another cast member will be like focused more on commercials and shit like that. So they have a plan for those people.
Well, when it started, and yeah, it's right from the start. Chevy Chase was the first guy. He was the star of Saturday Night Live, the first star, and then he went right into movies after the first season on that. But it's Saturday Night Live was the minor league, the upper AAA ball of minor leagues. You started in Second City or an improv troupe in Long Island, comedy troupe. What was the Lampoon people had one? Yeah, Firesign Theater. But also like in Second City in Chicago, and they would go from there up to Saturday Night Live, and then the next level was the movies. So it was like a farm system. You're starting at different levels. I don't know. Do they still have Second City in Chicago?
I don't know. Actually,
I believe
so. I don't know. Are y'all going to see the movie? I think they're coming out an SNL movie. Are y'all going to go see it?
Well, I didn't even know one existed because our show business guy doesn't he's not on the ball. He should have brought that to our attention.
I have heard about it, and yeah, it's supposed to be like a documentary, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's because there's actually a book. I can't think of the name of it, but there's actually a book. Yeah. It chronicles SNL, and I don't know, that shit seems so stressful. Like, I mean, I'll watch it because I like we're learning about entertainment and people, but I just don't get how those people can constantly have that kind of schedule, because their schedule is hectic. Like Monday, you got it. Like they stay up most of the time. They're writing, and then like you're doing it on the fly, which it works for some people. And I would see, like you said, how some people can.
You've read that book? You read?
Yeah,
I read.
Book?
Yeah, I've read that too, by Tom Shales. It's a great fucking book.
Yeah, and you really see how, like, my favorite part of it was the A's. We're talking about Eddie Murphy, that switch. And how like Louis Dreyfus, Martin Short, just like how many people and some of these people actually had a career going into it. But what I liked about the Eddie Murphy effect, like Eddie Murphy was so like talented. Not only did he revive it, but after that, you really didn't see another black cast member that had that same cachet. So I mean, I thought it was a good book. I liked hearing like Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, how just each decade you saw the stars, but just the environment just seems so stressful because like
and everybody needs Chevy Chase.
the Tom Shales book, live from New York, because I read a Saturday Night Live book in 1992 that was this thick, and it was at that time it wasn't that Saturday Night Live wasn't really. Well, it was 15 years old. Now it's 50 years or 17 years old, whatever it was in 92. Is that the same book? Does he just keep adding to it? Because it was thick.
Yes, it's a very thick book. And like the Chris Farley stories that are in there are great. Like David Spade talking about being in the offices of Saturday Night Live. Then fucking Chris Farley comes in there one night naked in the office and shit. It takes a pool cue and shoves it up his own ass.
See that I read it before that was in the book. That's news to me. No comedic effect or not. I'm sorry, that's gone. No wonder he died. No wonder he died. You're just taking comedy just one step too far.
Like, do you guys? I got another question for you guys. Do you guys How do you guys feel about the rise of comedy? Like, I this might just be a personal thing. I see more and more people. Like, I've been doing this for 7 years, and in the last, especially after the pandemic, I've seen so many more people say, "I want to be a comedian. I want to be a comedian. I want to do stand up." How do you guys?
I want to be a lifeguard.
Like, how do you guys feel about the rise of or the what's the fucking word I want to use? The increased
Wannabes?
volume. Yeah, the increased wannabes of stand. That's not the right political word, but yeah, how do y'all feel about that?
I think it's frustrating because people call comedy the easy route because whatever they're trying to do, they can't do. I talked about it maybe yesterday. The dude from Mighty Ducks, who, you know, he was an actor, went through drugs, went through hell, and he literally said on stage, "I'm doing stand-up now because nobody will hire me to act."
Right. Now, I in a way, I blame the really, really good comics because the really good comics make it look really easy, and they don't. And people think I can do that because it looks so fucking easy, and that's because the comics that they're looking at usually are so good that you don't see all the work that it goes into being a really good comedian.
Right.
And so they think I can do that. I talk to people all the time. I make people laugh around the water cooler all the time.
Yeah, I make my brother-in-law crack up, so I'm ready to be a headliner.
I kind of take comfort in knowing, yes, there is a lot of people that are doing comedy now, and a lot of people think that they can do it without putting like any work in. But just knowing how the business is, and yeah, maybe they can do the open mic level, but then once you start climbing the ladder a little bit, then their backs start to get broken because they fucking realize the shitstorm they're in and how hard it really gets as you start climbing.
Unless you get a lot of followers on TikTok, and then they'll get booked, and they think they're good because they're getting booked.
And that's funny you said that, GD, because like a month ago, I forgot this brother's name. I can't think of his name, but he's a big personality and influencer. And he did stand up. I didn't go to the show, but talking to people at the club, they literally said that he took his act from YouTube on the stage. And I mean, and I get it, right? And I get that, you know, you have a name, you have a fan base, you are bringing people to the stage. But I agree, like, it's just not easy. Like, I think it's the one art form out of everything, music, whatever, that it's you do a little bit of everything. You write, produce, you do a little bit of everything. And it's all about you. Like, if like I said earlier, if you want to make it to the top, you can grind, or you're like some people that I meet that just, it's a hobby. They want to not be with their wife and kids on a Tuesday. Fuck it, they'll go to Mike and talk.
The band is playing you off, Aaron. Unfortunately, the band is playing you off. Our director is giving me the cue.
Okay.
Next time, show up on time because we do have to say goodbye to you.
And have CP time hours.
No, stop. You have to fight your urge to be black and show up on time.
I will never fight the urge to be black, sir. I will never fight that.
Or just schedule a 10:15 instead of a 10 o'clock, and then you'll be right on.
All right. Now, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
See you later, brother.
Speaking of wannabes, guys who are just starting out, this next guest, he was begging me for a spot to open up for me at the Giggle Snatch. Tomorrow night, I actually will be across. He will be at the Castaways on Fire Island. I will be at the Giggle Snatch, which is also on Fire Island, but it's not really a club. Anyway, he's here now. Say hello to Joke Man Martling.
So
you're just starting out in comedy.
Waiting room. No. Here I am sitting in your waiting room, or whatever we call it, and the first thing I hear when I turn on my sound is, and then Chris Farley shoved the pool cue up his ass, and I said, I guess I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
My God. Jesus. Now, I didn't recognize that guy who was just said. That wasn't the guy that was on the helicopter with Trump, was it?
It was. That was Willie Brown. That was Willie Brown.
I don't do any political stuff because in a band, it gets rid of half of your audience immediately. But I really wanted to put up that Jesse Jackson is claiming that he was the one on the helicopter. I thought that'd be so funny. But I don't fart with that. Hi, good morning, fellas. How's everybody?
Morning.
Good morning, Jack.
Buddy. How are you?
Now, speaking of politics,
I never heard GD wax poetic like that about the business of comedy and going on and on.
Well, to be fair, he's never gotten a word in while you were here. So
yeah. Well, if you write a book, whatever you do, don't sell it.
On your, I know you don't talk politics, but on your Twitter post, somebody Cumia, like it's not Anthony Cumia, it's like somebody Cumia, whatever. Somebody who was using his name was just like coming at all your things with political comments, and then I think it's a she, because the profile picture is a she, started following me and like harassing me. I had to block her. I like you don't your stuff. Your post is not political. She just comes back with, "Are you still against Trump or whatever?" She's like, "What?
Oh, you
what
know
are you
what?
doing?"
I did see that. I did see that one comment.
Yeah.
You know what's so weird? Somebody made a comment, and I actually changed something because you know me. I put these jokes, and I love these jokes, and they're all ridiculous. And the guy wrote, "Jackie, rape jokes don't work anymore, or rape jokes aren't funny, or something like that." And I said, maybe there's one on one of those old Feldman calls, but I don't do. And then I looked at what I had posted, and I realized one of the jokes I had posted really was a rape joke, but I never even looked at it like that. The joke was, what did the seven dwarfs say when the princess came out of her trance? And the answer was, I guess it's back to jerking off, which when you think about it, that means that they were getting on with her while she was in a trance. But I never thought of it as, it's a dwarf, So I removed it.
Well, dwarf jokes don't work anymore either. No joke.
No, but at any rate, I replaced it. I replaced it with something much filthier, I'm sure. Now, who's this? I don't know. Sitcom man. Who is this guy?
Steven the sitcom. He's an anarchist. He's not really a sitcom guy. He's a anarchist, political activist who calls himself a comedian just to be on this show. But he's really all about politics.
You're not the situation guy with the stomach in Jersey.
He's a stomach. No,
it's not that one. No.
He's got extra stomach. Okay. He's got stomachs for enough for everybody in Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah.
He's Steven is in a wheelchair, which is where the sitcom comes from. He's not a stand-up comedian. He's a sit-down comedian, which is
I never know when you're being an idiot or being funny. But
I'm being an idiot. I'm not being funny, but I'm being truthful. I'm being a truthful idiot.
Well, it's nice to meet you,
Steven. Stand up and show him your wheelchair. So stand up and show him your wheelchair.
Yeah, actually, the truth is he's a scammer. He's not really handicapped at all. He's in a wheelchair and he's taking a government check for being in a wheelchair while he has no disability whatsoever.
Who doesn't do that?
Right.
And I got to hear Ron talk too. It was a very interesting 5 minutes before I came on the show. I was really enjoying it.
Yeah. Aaron wants to know why so many people in comedy become actors or sitcom people. They stop doing stand-up. And I was talking about the number, and I know you know a lot of them, people on Long Island who just stopped doing anything new. I'm not going to mention names, but they were national headliners in the 80s. They're still doing the same act. They haven't gone on to become actors or anything like that. I'm sure they probably had a chance to. But there's a lot of guys who just they stop writing or stop doing anything new. They do the same act for 10 years, 20 years, now 50 years or 45 years since the late 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Why do you think so many people gravitate towards? I gave my answer to it, but why do you think?
Well, number one, I'm guilty of the same thing because I spent all those years doing joke after joke after joke and filling up. I filled up 6 CDs with like 5, how many hours? 50 hours worth of jokes. And now I've been doing the same act for a long time because it's the very, very best out of them. And I switch them out here and then, but it doesn't matter because the people, for the most part, haven't heard any of the jokes anyway. As far as trying to get on a sitcom, I mean, that's the brass ring. That's the golden ring. That's a great thing to do. And, some comics are lazy and some aren't. Some people write and keep rewriting and it never gets funnier. There's a million answers. There's a million answers. There's a guy, I would never say his name, but he started out, I think, a year before me in the city. And I've never seen him get a laugh. And he teaches comedy in the city. And he's been teaching comedy for 40 years. And I'm like, don't you have to get a laugh before you can teach it? You know, but that, you know, there is everybody looks for their avenue, you know, and you can't fault that because it's such a tough game. You know, we just had Joe Bolster on the podcast, one of the funniest guys in the world. And now he's volunteers to teach girls to run cross country because he loves it. And he just said, you know, I'd rather do this. And you're allowed. You know, but
I've made a few girls run cross country.
Well, they went flying past my house and I lassoed them and dragged them in, but I can't tell a joke about it.
So stand up memories is back on the air. You're another season. You took a nice long layoff there, no?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but we just booked Robert Klein thanks to you, Matt Napo.
Oh.
And we haven't started it yet, but I think we got like 6 or 8 shows in the can, so to speak. But we just had Carol Montgomery yesterday, who's on Funny Women of a Certain Age. You know that show, right?
Yeah.
The old ladies. And we had Eddie Brill, who was warm-up act for Letterman's show for like 20 years. And he's a great
he was the comedy manager. He's been on this program twice now. I like Eddie. He's a good guy, really good guy.
Real good guy. So
his son is doing stand-up now. Yeah,
and he said that. You know, we were laughing. You know, over the years, you just share so many horror stories. It's just great fun. You know, right. I love sitting there and breaking Peter Bales' balls. And Peter is on the show tomorrow. Me and him are both doing the show at Castaway on Fire Island.
Now, are you bringing your own pool cue, or somebody, or is Chris Farley bringing his for that show?
Oh, I have mine. Was already inserted. You know,
probably half the audience will be doing a Chris Farley impersonation while you're doing your act.
And Jackie, that just shows what a professional you are. You already have it inserted. You're ready to go.
You want to hear the funny news? It's in sideways. Could you? Oh man, I even had it on one of my CDs. I said I don't know how anybody can handle that. I said I used once in a while I would take a pinky on New Year's Eve, but that was the height of it. And I'm not sure, looking back, whether that was a true story or not, but it might have been. But, it's so funny because you got 2 fingers up a girl's ass and she's screaming, then she puts her pinky near your ass, like, "What are you doing? Get out of there!"
Right.
little bit of hypocrisy, you know. But
so
we're not on yet, right?
No. A couple hours we'll be on. Yeah. Okay. Last week or the week before, well, I forget when it was. I had a senior moment. I thought you might be on the show. I wanted to ask you a question, and I texted you. Did you have a show tonight? And then you texted me back like hours later. Yeah, like why did you ask? And I forgot, but now I remember. Kill Tony was doing at Madison Square Garden. Now you're familiar with Kill Tony, where they go up and do a 1 minute.
The only way I know about this is from your friend and now my friend Will, who wrote me this long text about how you should really try and do it. And I think they would like to have you on, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I love him, but he's a little nutty. But he said he was coming out from Arizona to go and do that. Did he do that?
He did. He did. Yeah. He didn't get on. He follows them around, hoping for. The thing with Will is he's one of these people who hasn't written anything new ever since 25 years ago or done anything new. He just keeps hoping that somebody's going to notice his talent. He's 45 years old now and just waiting for it to be discussed.
If nobody's heard what he does, then it's all new to people. They haven't heard it yet. You know, that's what I say about my jokes. Every joke is new until you heard it, and then it's old. And it's the same with every sentence and every story, and you know, it's
right.
But tell me about it. I'm intrigued. Of course I live in a bubble, so I don't know what's going on. But who is this guy? And tell me about the show. It's at
Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah, it happened last week. It's Tony Hinchcliffe is the Kill Tony guy, and he's got a panel of generally the Joe Rogan clique of comedians are part of this thing. Brian Redband and those people, and it's a bucket thing. They put your name in a bucket. You pull up. They pull your name. You get 1 minute to kill Tony, to kind of bust him up, and then they critique you and do an interview with you. And then some people have gotten some notoriety, but most people just get embarrassed by doing that. They're not but most of them don't have a solid minute. And then you hear them talking about, like, my set could have been better. 1 minute, I don't call that a set ever. But why I texted you was I was going to do it. I was going to ask you, give me like 4 jokes I could do in a minute over there, and I'm just going to go up there and make a fool out of myself just to prove what idiots all these people are who are following this guy around.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Years ago, George Schlatter, the guy that created Laugh-In, like in 1985, he had a show called George Schlatter Presents, and it was interesting how he set it up. It's a long story, but he had 4 people on 3 sides of the square, and he was one side, and he had a thing in front, and he'd push a button and it'd show the different comedians. And I think we got like 10 minutes each or something like that. But I just met him because he's a big joke fan, and we had become fast friends. And I did so many jokes in that 10 minutes that he was like, we've been best friends ever since. And he was like flabbergasted. And he said, how many jokes was that? And I forget what it was, but it wasn't many, because it was like maybe 20 or 25. I forget. But he's a big pro. And he said, it seemed like there were 100, because when you're going fast, it seems like there's like, people see my act, they go, how many jokes was that? 1,000? Or no, it's like 110. But they seem like a lot. And I was actually thinking about this thing, whether you'd go up and do a nice, long, ridiculous story joke that lasts a minute, or whether I would go up there and just do, 30 old, stupid, stale, but always funny jokes, which is what I do. But what intrigued me is Will said he thought that they would not. I met the other guy. I met Bert, but I never heard of this Hinchcliffe guy. Where's he from, and who is he?
He was originally from the Comedy Store. He's part of the Rogan clique. Now he's an Austin guy. He's pretty big. I mean, he was a hit at the Tom Brady roast. And he's been writing for those roasts for years and years. So he's a very prolific joke writer. He's kind of a nasally little twink of a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Tall, skinny, with a very nasal gayness to him.
He's Matt's kind of guy for sure, and he,
So Steven's a big fan of this Kill Tony thing. He knows it better than I do, but.
So how often does it play?
So it's every Monday. It's been every Monday for 11 years, and it started out as just kind of like an open mic bucket pool situation, where you do a minute and then you get interviewed. And it snowballed from a little thing they did at the Comedy Store to, as we just mentioned, Madison Square Garden and arenas around the country.
Vegas and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so it's a traveling show, like it's Madison Square Garden now.
No, it's based out of Austin, Texas, from the Comedy Mothership, but they just recently started, in the last couple years, doing like 1 or 2 arenas a year. But it's based out of Austin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That 1 minute is pretty quick, but that's also fun,
Right. A lot of people can't even do a minute, though. They're reading a fucking minute on a cue card or something, or have a minute. If you can't remember a minute, or you can't remember 1 minute's worth of material, you really should not make a plan to be in comedy at
That's
all.
Always funny when you go, not to break Peter Bales, my good friend, my good partner, who does stand-up university, and they studied for 7 weeks, and then they all got to do 5 minutes at the end, and the people come up on stage and they put the paper down and they read the first joke. I'm like, at least know the first one, make some eye contact. That's just a few of them here and there, but there's things that make you crazy. I went to see a band the other night, and the lead singer is reading off a teleprompter, and I'm like, this isn't a song they just wrote. This is a song, a song somebody's been singing for 40 years. I mean, that's to me, that's not very rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I saw Christopher Cross, and he had an iPad right in front of his face. This is Christopher Cross, who was from the 70s, and he's a great guitar player and good singer and all that, and songwriter. But if you don't know your material after 50 years of doing it...
No, I'm not saying nothing because he's a very good friend of mine, but I saw him a bunch of times. I never saw him. You know, he might be might just be reading love letters from the girls in the audience for all I know. You know?
I didn't know you were friends. Oh, good for you. You're friends with Christopher Cross. Look at you, big shot, Mr.
My friend Toby Ludwig is Christopher's manager. So you know, I've seen him a billion times, you know.
Well, Matt likes to hate. Christopher was probably getting DMs from chicks in the audience, like, "Hey, I want you to suck this pussy after you get done playing."
Oh, hey, we are watching such a weird show, and I think there's something wrong with me for liking this show. But every night, me and Barbara tune in and watch 2 episodes. Emily in Paris. Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
It's the 5th season. It's the 5th season. Hold on. God damn it. Hold on.
Wait, is he wearing pants?
He's got pants on. Thank God.
It's the joke line.
It's the joke line. 922 wine. 516.
The outgoing message.
516-922 wine. Call now. Call now. The operators are standing by with jokes waiting.
Barbara's phone. That's Barbara's office getting business, so that's good.
Well, tell them we need celebrities. Get me some. Tell Barbara to get me some celebrity guests. Anybody with any amount of fame, we'll take them. I'm tired of having these stand up.
We just had Carol Montgomery. Have you had her? She's great.
Carol Montgomery. Who is she?
She's on Funny Women of a certain age.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's great. I've known her for like 40 years. You know, she's good. And who else we got? We got some people.
Anybody under 100?
No, in fact, I was talking to. I was in a movie with her. Did you know that?
Vidal?
Yeah.
Oh, which movie?
Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. I've told you about that, Matt, right?
Yes. Yeah, he doesn't listen.
No, I know. Yeah. She's great. The 400-pound chocolate kiss. Right? That's what she built. That's what she used to bill herself as.
Yeah.
I thought you were calling GD names for a second.
No. It's applicable.
Not to be politically incorrect, but you will get lost in that pussy.
There's some more. I think it was some more who used to say, I know I have a big mouth and you're thinking about me giving you a blowjob, but let me tell you, me giving you a blowjob would be like you giving a tic-tac to a whale.
All right, B that one. We're gonna cut that up. We're gonna cut that up and have GD saying very inappropriate things about himself there.
I could have sworn I just heard him say he wants to give a blowjob to a whale.
No, you heard right. There's nothing wrong with your ears, unlike the rest of you.
It's like throwing a hot dog through an open window, right?
Yeah. And last week, I saw Adam Sandler was doing Rogan, and I don't generally listen to Rogan, but I wanted to hear what Sandler had to say. And within the first 3 minutes, Sandler was going to how he got his start on Long Island. He was 15 years old, and his sister would bring him to this club. He was talking about East Side Comedy Club. He was quick to remember. It was somewhere up in Huntington. It was like Jericho Turnpike, but then he was talking about Richie Minervini was like cracking him up like he was the funniest guy. He couldn't believe how the room was like busting up over Richie Minervini, and I was like, and he was talking about all the people in the room, and they never mentioned you once. And I know you were there for a lot of those shows because it was his like.
No, I was there. Me and Richard M. Dixon would not pay us at Richard M. Dixon's White House Inn, so me and Richie found this bar restaurant in Huntington that let us put on shows on Tuesday nights. And we were co-producers of the show at Cinnamon that lasted 15 years. And I recorded my first comedy LP upstairs in that restaurant on a cassette recorder. And then Richie and his brother, another guy, they had money. You know, they're Huntington kids with money. I didn't have a pot to piss in. And they started the East Side Comedy Club. And I wasn't a partner. I wasn't part of it. But I was partner to creating the whole thing. I just wasn't in for the cash. Kind of like another show I was on. But what are you going to do? You know, but the one thing I told you my story about Sandler, I met all these guys along the way. And they had a big party for grown-ups too. And Richie had a bigger part in grown-ups too. So we went to the after party at PJ Clark's, and it was David Spade, who I know, and Kevin James, who I know, and Chris Rock, who I know, and whoever else was in it. And the only one that I didn't know in the cast was Adam Sandler. And I said, oh, you know, finally. And I went up to him at the party. I said, hey, Adam, Jackie Martling, it's nice to meet you. He goes, oh, yeah. He said, I did one of your shows at a bar in Long Island in the 80s. And I almost fell over because I'm telling you, I remember everybody I worked with. I remember all the shows, especially the bad ones. And this is the one guy that I don't remember. He must have been so horrible or something. It was so fun. He's like, of course you don't remember. And I didn't know how to tell him. But I do remember. I remember the crappiest gigs from wherever. But I'm sure it was one of those Suffolk County, you know, 5 beers to get their shows, you know. But he's a very nice guy, you know.
Jackie, this is like way off base, maybe. But are you familiar with the comedian named Perry Kurtz? He's been around for a very long time.
Perry Kurtz?
Yeah, Perry Kurtz. I don't know if you know him. He was basically a West Coast comedian, but he was in with the West Coast crowd. I was only going to ask because he just died recently, hit and run accident. I know.
Say his name again. The name.
Perry Perry Kurtz Kurtz.
No idea. And I did not hit him with my car.
Okay, that was my next question. But suppose it was an 18-year-old, and I didn't know. But
you
passed for 18 several times.
I surely could. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But speaking of Rock, I mean, because Sandler was talking about he said he was 15 years old, and he said Rock was with him a couple of times, and that was basically what got him started in stand-up. He wasn't thinking of, I think he was thinking of being an actor, but his sister got him to go to East Side, and then from there he was talking about Govs. I did not know that I knew he was a New York guy, but I thought he was like a Westchester, you know, above the Manhattan type of guy, Westchester and Scarsdale kind of guy.
Where is he from?
Island. I think he's from up there, like Westchester and all that. I don't. His sister was living in Huntington. That's how he ended up at East Side at 15-year-old. So.
Oh, that was those days with the before East Side and all the crazy gigs that we did. I keep running into people that remember these shows we did. I'm sure you would have known the name of half of these clubs we worked out in Suffolk County that were just I mean,
yeah,
almost
comedy.
like the blues were. Yeah, there was no. This is 40 years before the Konkoma Comedy Club. You know, this is This is the Purple Onion and the Park Lounge. I mean, places where, you know, you wouldn't go there, you know, if you were armed. You know, but it was great fun. But I wish Sandler had mentioned me, the son of a bitch. You know?
Yeah, right. I mean, I was waiting for, like, I was excited. I'm like, I'm going to hear him talk about Jackie, and I listened for 15 minutes. It never happened.
You know, Richie is so odd because they were up there in Boston shooting. I think it was Grown Ups 2 or one of those movies, and they were up there for a long time. And when they wrapped, Richie wrote to me or called me up and said, "Hey, we just made a movie. Why didn't you come up?" And I said, "You know, Richie, you really could invite me before the wrap." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know whether he was shielding me from meeting Sandler or whatever. You know, he says, "Oh, we were in the hot tub," and Sandler's like, "Where's Martling? When's he coming?" I said, "Well, why wouldn't you tell me? You know, Jesus, I would have walked up there, you know." But
I know why. It all goes back to that Dangerfield thing, the very first thing where you basically got the gig after he lied to you about being pals with Rodney Dangerfield.
You know,
I
just went to a funeral for a delightful guy, Bill J. Did you know him?
Yeah.
He's a really delightful guy, and the funeral was literally a block from my grandmother's in Mineola, which is where I was living when Richie came in and told me his lie that wound up making my life for me, you know. So, I love those stupid stories, you know, and the older the stories get, the more people are so sure that they're not true, and they're also true. Hey, I just
Steven, when you get a fart, you could hit your mute button.
I didn't fart.
What was that?
I don't know what that is. I'm hearing it too, but I don't know what it is.
Come on, we heard it. You got your fart mic on. Just mute your mic before you fart.
Listen, we talked about this yesterday. We said we'd mic up my ass just in case, and now you're backing off on it and you're changing your story.
I say that?
I'm very.
I said that.
I feel a little betrayed.
Well, that was GD who said that, right? I had to.
No, if Steven says you said it, it has to be true. Why don't you check the B-roll?
All right.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Napo, here's another story you won't remember. I mean, that you won't believe. There was a morning show called The Breakfast Flakes out of Danbury, Connecticut, and now the guy Buzz Knight is all over the place. And he's doing a lot of stuff. And I keep writing to him, say, hey, Buzz, remember, but I'm sure he doesn't want to be called out on the days of Danbury and the Westport Comedy Club. But I was working in Westport years before I met Howard. It's like 1981 or 82. And I would go and do the morning show, before I went and did the Westport Comedy Club for Brad Axelrod. So I go up there and we're on the radio. And, I'm half crazy, and we're sitting there. And while I'm looking right at either Tim or Buzz on the air being interviewed and telling jokes, I'm looking right at them. And I blasted such a loud fart. And the two of them looked at me. They couldn't believe it. And I just laughed my ass off. And they were in total shock. And I swear to God, and they were all laughing about it. That night, I'm on stage at the Westport Comedy Club. And some guy yells, did you really fart on the radio? I swear to God, and somewhere, I tape every show. Somewhere that tape exists in my, and this is years before, Howard, I didn't fart into the microphone, but it was just so nice. And I'm sure Buzz Knight does not want to see me because he knows I'm going to ask him if he remembers that. And I think he's moved on from that.
I still had the smell of it in my nose. I can't get it out of my nose here.
But that was electric. When I tell that story, I can see their faces because at first they couldn't believe it. They thought maybe the building was falling down.
Your best friend Ralph is in the audience. He said, "Jackie, the joke man,
Ralph.
F Howard." He's saying F Howard. He wants you to say bad things about Howard. You don't trash people though. That's not your game. You're not a people.
No. And I'm also in alignment with him about Kamala. And the one thing we agree on, I was going to say, hey, why don't we do a show together to help promote Kamala and Tim? But I know he'll ignore it, so I'm not going to do that. But no, he's fine. Yeah. He's fine. He's rich. Jackie, he's fine.
If you want, I'll put in a good word for you. I'll call Howard myself and put in a good word for you.
All right, just don't let him see your fucking hair. Don't let him see your hair.
Yeah. Well, TD's good friends with him now. I don't know how that happened, but
now to completely change the subject, I finally got booked out in Las Vegas, and I'm thrilled.
Great.
And I guess this place is where
Steven, was that a fart?
I heard it too.
Yeah, we heard that part.
Yeah,
that wasn't a fart. That was me doing a plug.
Yeah.
I'm working at the Ahern Hotel, October 10th, 11th, 12th. We're going to celebrate Columbus Day on October 12th. It's going to be a whole big to-do. No Italians invited, just so we can goof on Columbus. You know the story of Columbus, right?
No. Well, the guy. No. What's the story of Columbus?
He didn't know where he was going. When he got there, he didn't know where he was, and when he got back, he didn't know where he'd been. and that's all true, which is so funny. Ahern Hotel, the Ahern Hotel on Sahara in Las Vegas. That sounds so official. I was going to try and talk him into paying me, but then I figured I didn't want to lose the gig, so I'm just going out there.
My people are not. We don't like this Christopher Columbus guy. My people. I'm now officially Puspatuk. I don't know if you know this. I've been inducted into the tribe, and now I'm officially a Puspatuk. You should come out to the Res sometime. And
what is a Puspatuk?
It's like a Shinnecock, only thing it's more like a Poospatuck.
Wow.
I
went to Camp Wowee-Pex. Camp Wowee-Pex.
Yeah.
I was an Indian.
Long Island Indians, fake Indians, who are basically just the res is all about weed. It's all about weed. It's just one weed place after another. And I know you went to that one in Farmingdale. The prices, if you get inducted to the tribe like I am. Now I'm full-blooded Poospatuck.
So when you say the tribe, you don't mean you're an official Jew, not that tribe.
Kind of like that, but they're not real.
The Jewish people say they're part of the tribe.
The tribe, right? Yeah, the tribe. Yeah, it's the same.
There's 12 tribes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the hotel in Vegas. Is this one of the old classic mobbed up hotels? Because the name isn't familiar.
No, it's fairly new. I think it's a very crazy wealthy guy either bought this hotel or built this hotel, and it's called a luxury boutique hotel. And in fact, Minervini, a whole bunch of people are working there. Oh, did you have Bob Golub on your show? Because
No.
Bob Golub is one of the people working there in Minervini. You go in there for 3 nights. No, in fact, I was just talking to Carol Montgomery because I worked at the Riviera for 10 years, and she used to be the comedian at a show called Crazy Girls, which was like 12 beautiful topless girls. And she was the comedian at the Riviera. And they pulled that down. Did you see that? They imploded the Riviera, and it's going.
Oh, yeah.
So sad. That was one of the classic, like the Dunes and the Sahara and the Riviera, But
so is the Sahara place on Old Fremont? Is it down, the old strip of Fremont Avenue?
It's on West Sahara, so it's kind of right in the middle of stuff. I didn't look exactly, but it's like it's like everything in Las Vegas. It's 0.3 of a mile from everything. You know what I mean? So it's not way out. Like the South Point is way south in Vegas, but that's a great place too.
Yeah. You're doing a weekend. You're doing Thursday through Saturday there. Is that what you're doing? The 10th, 11th, and 12th at the.
Yeah, it's the perfect gig because it's one show a night, and it's an elevator gig, and there is nothing better than taking a shower, getting dressed, and coming out of your room and taking an elevator to the show. I mean, that's like you died and went to heaven. That's a.
I want to go. Huh?
Well, come out there. Come out there.
I'm looking at October. I got a 13th gig. Oh, I have the 11th and the 13th. Fuck me.
Cancel them. You don't need the $40.
Yeah. Oh, Matt, go. I will fill in for you. I don't know any of the songs or anything like that, but I'll fill in for you. I'll bring my best guitar, and I'll just stand there and tell jokes instead of playing music.
We don't like black people in the neighborhood. Sorry.
Hey, speaking of songs, how's my Christian girlfriend?
So just continuing to pump them out. She showed up at a gig a couple of weeks ago with all her kids. It's like, and she sang like 3 songs, but she had to go because the kids were wreaking havoc all over the place. It is what it is. She I don't think she's coming back to the band. I think she's now a dedicated baby maker. That's what she's going to do. She's going to live the Elon Musk dream of having 25 children.
Jesus Christ. Her and Alec Baldwin, huh? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ralphie's saying he'll go with me, but I'm not going. I can't go. I have 2 gigs that weekend. One of them is a wedding that I have to. I can't.
Well, there's every chance they're going to call that off.
There is. Now, oh, you're playing Soul Joel's but not the Soul Joel's in Philly, in Clearwater. I didn't know.
It's great. Do you know John Ferrantino?
Yeah, I know him well. He's his daughter is supposed to be on the program. I've had John on like a dozen times, but
yeah. Well, he has a podcast too, and he was at this funeral that I went to. We went to this wake, and I saw him, and he says his podcast has a real lot of followers in Tampa. So I'm going to do his podcast again. And of all the crazy things, the guys from BAB, what's his name? TJ, who is it? The morning guys. God.
It used to be Bob Buckner. I don't know who it is now.
No, the guys like, yeah, God, they're my best friends. I am so old, I can't stand it. Roger and JP, they're on every morning on BAB, but every afternoon, well, not even afternoon, I think from 11 to 2, they're on in Tampa because the company that owns BAB owns the radio station in Tampa. So I'm gonna go on there on a Long Island show. The BAB space but it's on in Tampa. I'm always clean on the radio. Are you kidding? You got to be.
I know. Well, yeah. That's interesting. But you know what? It's hard to imagine that afternoon show. I guess they don't talk anything topical or all that kind of stuff. A Long Island morning show, how it plays in the afternoon down there.
They've been doing it for 5 years. Well, they don't play it like it's a Long Island show. I'm going to give
I'm going to give John some shit. I'm not going to tell him you told me this, but he was on Long Island and he didn't even tell me he was on Long Island. I'm a little pissed off about that.
I don't know who you're talking about.
John Ferrantino. You just said you were at a wake he came to a wake or funeral on Long Island, right?
I only saw him for 5 minutes.
All right,
but he looked all right.
Big Bad Broadcast. It used to be called Baby Boomers Broadcast, and I was on there and I was giving them shit like, you're baby boomers. No, but the baby boomers are all dead. You're not gonna fucking build an audience.
Hey,
I know. Well, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
They are all dead except for you.
We're at Bill Jay's wake and like, oh yeah, he was so old. He was 70. I'm like, ho, 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 ho.
Right. So, but I gave him that shit on his show, and then they decided they had a meeting after I was on it. Is he right? He's right. So they decided to change the name of the show, but they already had
boomers. You call boomers. You're chasing people. It's like saying I'm a Republican or I'm a Yankee fan. You're getting rid of the Mets. You're getting rid of the
they had the domain. It was just BBB podcast or something, BBB. So that's why it's now the Big Bad Broadcast, because they were too cheap to buy a new domain. So they were just using Baby Boomers Broadcast or whatever. And they just had the BBB. So they just basically. So I'm responsible for their changing the name.
I will give him that. I will give him some crap about that. So Soul Joe's actually has a club called Muggs Bar and Grill. I'm like, I knew it was not the smartest idea winding up off the Stern Show, but I never thought I was going to make it to Muggs Bar and Grill in Clearwater. But I'm actually looking forward to it. Supposedly it sells out and really kicks ass. And I don't know if you know Soul Joe, but he's a really decent guy. Have you had him on your show?
No. Ron, don't you work there at the one in Philly? Have you not worked Soul Joe's in Philly?
No, I've worked there a bunch of times, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and they still find their way there, and it's a great room. It's you go to nowhere and then keep going, and eventually you get there. It's so freaking far. Thank God for books on tape. That's all I can say. That is a comedian's best friend, is those goddamn books on tape. I could drive to Pluto. I'm listening to this thing called the New York Game, and it's the history of New York alongside the history of baseball. And I can't stand how good it is,
Wow. Ralph Antonoff, we are boomers. Yes, we're boomers.
No, I'm not a boomer. I'm a millennial.
No, me and Ralph are boomers. He's asking if we are boomers. And yes, we are boomers.
Jack, you had a question.
Are you called boomers because you were around at the Big Bang?
Now there's a joke. Turn off his mic.
Oh, yeah, really? Turn off this fucking mic. Go ahead, GD. Jack, you have a question. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Jackie,
just ask a question.
Jackie, you were saying that you're always clean on the radio?
Steven, the Big Bang is the last time I got laid in 2014.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
All right, GD. Let's see.
Yeah, ask your question. Ask a question. Come on, ask a question.
My question.
No, ask a question.
Jackie, you saying that you're always clean on the radio. But with all the jokes that you have, and especially since you just admitted that you had a rape joke that you didn't know was a rape joke, how do you know that you're being clean on the radio?
I just don't care. Everything it's so ridiculous. I don't care about anything. I I haven't done it in probably a couple of years now, but I put like 200 jokes on TikTok. I'm sure I told you this, Matt, but I did a bunch of jokes for a guy in Arizona. I did like 200 jokes on iPhone, because that's the easiest. It's easier to make an MP3s. You just do an iPhone video, you tell your joke. It's easy to do a single joke and send them. So I was doing jokes, send them. I said, look, just use the audio, use the MP3 from it and put it on your radio station. He had like 5 radio stations and he loved it. It was going great. I don't know whether he died from drugs or what, but he disappeared. And then one day I realized, hey, these jokes are made specifically to go on TikTok. They're portrait and they're all clean and there's no plugs on them. So I started putting them on TikTok and they were radio clean. And then I started doing, jokes specifically for TikTok. And one of the jokes I put on there, they don't delete it. What they do is they mute it.
Right.
So I had a joke where, and the reason they muted it is because it had the word dildo in it. And then a little while later, they muted another joke because it had the word dildo in it. Now, neither of those jokes, it's ridiculous, but I guess the Chinese, censors must go looking for certain things. And after that, I think I did 100 or 200 jokes, and so many of them are so filthy, but I never say anything dirty. And you wouldn't believe how dirty, one of the dirty jokes on there has gotten over 1 million views. And it could not be dirty. You know the motorcycle joke, right? You know the old motorcycle joke?
No, I don't know any jokes.
The guy goes to pick up his girlfriend, and before he goes, he goes to buy a motorcycle from his cousin. And he's buying his cousin's used motorcycle. And he says, my God, man, this motorcycle is like brand new, but it's used. What's the story? And his cousin says, well, my secret is I always coat the chrome with a little Vaseline before it rains. And that way the chrome doesn't rust, it doesn't tarnish, and it stays like new. In fact, I don't need the Vaseline anymore because you're taking the motorcycle. Take my tube of Vaseline. So the guy takes a tube of Vaseline, goes to pick up his brand new girlfriend. They're going to go to her parents' house and have dinner for the first time. So on the way to her parents' house, she says, I think I should tell you something. My family's a little different. You can't talk during dinner. Because if you talk during dinner, you got to do the dishes. The guy's like, all right. What's that noise? Who's making noise?
It's probably Steven. I'll mute him.
Am I the only one that hears that?
I hear it, but I only hear it when you're not talking.
I'm not hearing it.
What are you hearing exactly? It could be the air conditioning. So yeah, I'll keep it muted unless I talk because I hear it.
Yeah.
Who unplugged the room? So where were we? So the guy, she's on the back of the motorcycle. She says, listen, I got to tell you can't talk during dinner because if you talk during dinner, you got to do the dishes. He's like, whatever. So they get to the girl's house and the whole front lawn is dirty dishes. And the steps going up to the porch, dirty dishes, the whole porch full of dirty dishes. They walk in the house, the whole living room and the stairs going up, there's dirty dishes. They haven't done the dishes in months. What? So they go in to sit and have dinner, and they're sitting there having dinner, and the whole meal, nobody talks. Nobody says nothing. It's the end of the meal. He's a little horny, and he figures nobody's going to say anything. So he grabs his girlfriend and lies her on the dining room table, and he fucks her. And nobody says anything. And he's done, and he's still a little bit horny, and her mother's kind of cute, and he figures, well, nobody's talking. So he takes her mother, puts her mother on the dining room table, and starts fucking her mother. And he's just about finished, and he looks out the window, and it's starting to rain on his motorcycle. So he reaches in his pocket, and he takes out the tube of Vaseline, and her father jumps up and says, all right, I'll do the fucking dishes.
I remembered the joke. I didn't remember how it ended. Yeah. That's fine.
But that joke, without, it starts doing her mother, getting it on with her mother. All right, I'll do the dishes with no curse words. That has 1.1 million views on my TikTok. And that got passed. And so many jokes, you just don't say the words. Meanwhile, I got suspended from a joke for saying masturbate. I mean, you know, how the hell are the Chinese going to take over if they're not smarter than that, right?
That's right. Yeah. Do you know Craig Mitchell? He's a Long Island comedian. He started in Govs, I guess, but he's been around like 30. He's doing like a chef show. Do you know him, Craig Mitchell?
No, but it sounds like a name I should know. You know.
He was doing the show with Ferrantino, John Ferrantino. He was part of Ferrantino's thing, the big broadcast, the big baby boomers, whatever.
Well, when they started that, there was 80 of them when they started it, right? Me and Bales were part
no,
of that.
it was just I think it was 4 of them, maybe 3 of them, but Ferrantino fired Craig from the Big Bad Broadcast because Craig started doing your act on TikTok. He started doing. He wanted to do Jackie the same jokes that you do on TikTok, 1-minute jokes, and Ferrantino said that's not for our crowd. You're giving our brand a bad name, and fired him from that from the broadcast because of that for being you.
I thought you were going to say that Ferrantino fired him for being interesting.
Well, yeah, he's not.
No,
really.
you know, I know what I do is just so stupid, but they haven't stopped laughing. If they ever stop laughing, I'll never do it again. I promise. You know.
Right.
God, I had a couple shows last week. I hadn't worked for the whole month of July. Napo, I can't remember going the whole month with no gigs. And then Carol Montgomery said, "Yeah, every July, every comic's like, I can't believe I don't have any gigs this month." It's because nobody has any gigs, and you know, and but then all of a sudden I had a whole weekend in Boston with Lenny Clark and Steve Sweeney. I don't know if you know that name. And then I had a terrific show down in South Jersey, in Seaside Heights. And, you know, you forget how much you love doing this. I mean, I drove to Seaside Heights like 4 hours to do an hour.
Wow.
I was in there. I loved it. And then on the way home, I'm listening to my baseball book. You know, tie me up and beat me with a spoon. I was fine. You know, it's
so when you go to do an hour, you do an hour, but the meet and greet that you do is like an hour and a half or 2 hours after the show. So
it depends on however much they want to hang out. You know, I take pictures and sign autographs, and you know, sometimes there's a huge line, and sometimes like they all walk past me and smile and say thank you. You know. It's very unpredictable. Some shows I sell $500 worth of books, and some shows I sell 2 books. You know,
right.
But I always enjoy it. And, you know, Jackie, I saw you 30 years ago. I saw you 40 years ago. You know, like one guy came up to me and said, "Jackie, I'll never forget the first time I saw your act. That's because I just saw it again tonight," which is funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Now you're doing broker.
I got a question for you, Jackie. Have you ever
8 inches?
Yeah. Have you ever had a gig at a club and then they fucking cancel on you like 2 hours before the show starts and they don't tell you until you show up?
We had Joe Bolster on the show the other day, and do you guys have any idea who he is? He started at the same time as Bales. Joe Bolster and Paul Reiser and Jerry Seinfeld and Larry Miller and Dennis Wolfberg and Bales, they were all at the comic strip together. And Joe's an amazing comic. And Roy Rosegarten actually represents him. But he started doing corporate stuff, and then he kind of tapered off because he wasn't so into it anymore. You know, he's into doing other stuff. But I reminded him, I said, I want to know if you remember this. It was so early on. In the very early days, lines had to be drawn because nothing had really been established yet. I mean, there was a comedy club, Catch a Rising Star, and there's the comedy store, but the shows in different places in different cities, they hadn't appeared yet. And one by one, these little clubs are popping up and these shows are popping up. And this guy, Jim Balatzos, booked me and Paul Reiser and Joe Bolster to do a show. And this is so early on that there was no such thing as a headliner. And it was like, you got 3 guys, and why don't you go first? All right, I'll close. Well, you're the loudest. You know, I was always last because I was the dirtiest and the loudest. But Balatzos picks us up at the Improv, and we go out to this bowling alley on a Sunday night in New Jersey. And we get there, and the place is closed. And Balatzos gets out of the car. He always had a bottle of vodka under his seat. I mean, I'm sure you heard stories about him. And he's up there pounding on the door. And I turned to Bolster and Reiser. I said, you realize that we get paid no matter what? And they said, what are you talking about? I said, our job was to show up and come to the gig. We did our part of the gig. The rest of it's on him. He has to pay us. And they're like, how do you do? I said, he booked the gig. He's the producer, and we're here. We get paid. And Reiser's like, well, you tell him, you know. And he got in the car. I said, well, you know, Jim, we get paid because we're here to do our job. And he was a little bit put off because that had never been established yet. But we got paid, and I remember Reiser turning to me and going, you're very good at this. It was great.
Wow.
But in those days, you know, there was no, those in the days where you'd go down and work Virginia, and they say, all right, well, we're going to do 3 shows on a Saturday night. And we're like, well, then we get paid more. And they said, what are you talking about? Because to them, they had you Wednesday through Sunday or Wednesday through Saturday, whatever it was. And you were like indentured to them for that time.
Indentured servant.
And however many shows they want to do. And that had to be, you know, that had to be carved out that no, it's not that we're there for a week for you. We get paid by the show. And as obvious as that sounds, it was not obvious back then. It was the Wild West of comedy. It was pretty interesting, you know.
Well, I think today it's really important to get it in a contract because if you don't have a contract, you can, let's just, for hypotheticals, you could just say fly to Dallas, Texas, get a hotel room, and then find out 2 hours before the show that there weren't enough advance sales, so they're canceling the show. Even though they're not closing, they're going to have somebody else on. You're not on that night.
That shit happens. You know, that's what I always say. If somebody wants to book me, I said, put it in an email so we have a trail, because texts don't work the same. So if it's in an email and somebody tells you what they're going to pay and what they want to do, you always have, you know, have a trail, you know, and you never know what's going to happen. And people, especially.
Oh, what happened? We just
fright.
Did you get a phone call?
Where'd everybody go?
I didn't do it.
You did it.
I did it.
You popped in and out. Something with your tablet fucked up. But this is the thing. People are afraid to say, intimidated by, I want to do the gig. I'm not going to push too hard to get all the stuff in writing and all that kind of stuff. And that's where you end up getting fucked.
Right. Because you don't want to turn them off or something, you know. It's like, you know, it's like, I worked the show in Kansas City and then the show didn't even happen on Saturday night and the guy didn't pay us and it was really fucking horrible. And the guy says, yeah, who books it? You know, because everybody's so hungry for work, they'll do anything, you know.
Yeah.
I got myself in so much trouble. There was a place called the Funny Bone in St. Louis. And that guy also had a Funny Bone in Knoxville, Tennessee. And this is so long ago that I came out from the St. Louis Funny Bone in between shows, and it was in Westport Plaza in St. Louis. And across the plaza was a theater. And in the plaza, I ran into Larry Miller, the Russian guy, Yakov Smirnov, and Jay Leno, because they were working in the theater. And I was killing at the Funny Bone in St. Louis. And the guy booked me the next time to also go to Knoxville. And everybody said, listen, make sure you get paid up front because people have been getting stiffed in Knoxville. So I was done in St. Louis and I was about to go to Knoxville. And I said, the guy's name was Jerry, I think. I said, Jerry, I want to get paid for Knoxville before I go. And he was incensed. And I said, listen, you know, there's some story. You know, how do you tell a guy it's going around that you're ripping people off or somebody is? So the good news is he paid me, and the bad news is I think he lost my phone number after that.
Yeah.
But you know, this is so long ago that the show that I did, I went on a TV show to promote the show at Knoxville Funny Bone, and the name of the show was Crooks and Chase. And there were a local
I remember
TV show, and they became a huge thing on the country networks. And then they disappeared. They came and went, and I'll never forget because I was on at the same time, the same show as Paul Williams. And this is, I think it was before he quit drinking 40 years ago. And I think I've told you the story. It's one of the funniest things. He was on either right before me or right after me, and I'm in the green room watching. And they say, "Wow, Paul, you're such a great songwriter, and you're so talented. But have you ever written song? Do you ever write a song that didn't make it?" And he said, "Oh yeah." And they said, "Like what?" And he said, "Brown Christmas," which is just. I thought that was the funniest goddamn thing.
I thought GD wrote that.
That's not funny. Don't
I
be
know
racist.
It's not. No, I am. I am racist. I'm very racist. This is my act now. I'm racist. I'm racist. I'm homophobic.
He's ableist.
Listen, you are a bad influence on me because yesterday I had done a flyer for a poster that they hang up in one of these venues that we play, and Mikey wrote to me. He said, "Can you redo it and add these dates on it?" And I'm being you. He's texting me, and I'm being like Jackie. I said, "Could you suck my cock?" And he would call me up because that's really homophobic. I was like, no, that's not homophobic. It might be a little homoerotic, but it's not homophobic.
It's also
but you're
very
a bad
enjoyable. Who cares? Listen, you got to tell people I haven't done any cameos in like a week. So go to cameo.com/Jackie Martling and have me tell some dirty jokes to your father or your uncle. God, I had such a weird one the other day. What the? I don't know, like two twins were getting married to two twin girls or something. And they said, "Please have a field day." And I just went nuts. And these people all give me 5 stars and they give me tips. And then they don't get one for a week. I'm like, why aren't these people talking to each other? So do a cameo, goddammit it.
Yeah,
Send me a few.
do a cameo.
I love doing those things, man. It's like doing a little 4-minute show. I get my
now. There's rules on there. There are rules on there about what people can ask you to do, right? You can. I don't know.
No, well, what you can do is you can just say you can reject the request. They can ask you all they want, and sometimes I think that if they pay an extra $50 or $100, they're allowed to ask for more detail. But it's all you don't have to do anything. I'm a whore. Right. I take it all.
I know me. I'm a whore too, but nobody wants to cameo me. Nobody even never heard of me. Who?
Hey, I've been retweeting your stuff. When you tweet that I'm coming on the air. I don't know if you ever see it. I don't know who sees this stuff.
I don't see it. I see almost all your tweets and stuff like that. There are people sometimes you include in the tweet that I have no idea who they are. Apparently, they are comedians. So some of the people you tag in some of these things, but I don't know them. You know everybody in show business. You mentioned Leno. Do you know him like on a social? Can you talk to him, like call him up and say, "Hey Jay, how are you?"
No, I've never called him up and talked to him, but he's friendly when we see him. One time he came, I guess we were in Los Angeles, and he came on the Stern Show, and he sat down with Howard, and the first thing he said, "Hey Howard," and he told a really filthy joke, one that you could get away with on the air, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Howard, that's from Jackie's act." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." He was breaking my balls, but it was a nice shout out from Jay, so.
Yeah.
And we went to his show a couple times, me and Howard and Robin, and it's always fun,
He's still doing clubs. I mean, this is because we were talking before when we were talking about to Aaron about why people go into television and stuff. I said they don't really generally love stand-up. When they do that, they're just looking to move on. They're using stand-up as a stepping stool. Jay Leno loves comedy because he's still doing it.
He loves it. And he's going to do it till the day he dies because he really enjoys being up there. I don't know whether he enjoys the love. I don't know whether he enjoys getting the laughs or all of the above. But, I totally get it. If I walk down to the post office and say something funny to the guy behind the post office counter and he laughs, I walk out of there with spring in my step. We're all hams. I think we're all hams. I know I am. There's nothing new. I enjoyed telling jokes and getting laughs before I even was a musician. It was just something. I don't know whether I got too much love as a kid or no love as a kid. I don't remember if my father used to beat me or whether I used to have sex with my mother. It's all blank.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything
I think all of that is true.
Jackie.
Yeah, of course.
Jackie, I do that. I do that as well, and I think it's because it's just cool when you can make tell a joke just out of the blue and get someone to laugh. That makes me feel good too. It's like, it's cool.
It's
All right,
just
do
so
it.
silly.
Do it, Ron.
So,
Come on.
guys,
You're on.
Oh, Ron.
All
Press
right,
it, Ron.
Tell us.
Here,
Make us laugh.
Here, I'll tell a joke. So, I do have some crazy neighbors. They're always doing construction and renovation projects on their house. I come home the other day. I get out of my car, and he's in his backyard. He's like, "Look, I built her a she shed." And I was just so frustrated by this. I went into my wife and I said, "You know what? We have to compete." But we did something a little different. I built an escape room in my house, and it's working great because the neighbor still hasn't gotten out yet.
Now, see, that could be funny.
It could be.
That was
You have to.
Ron.
You have to do.
That's very funny.
You have to do what Jackie does at the end of it. Go. And then we know.
I was out in Suffolk. I was in Suffolk in your neighborhood the other day, and I was walking along, and there were like 3 couples on the front yard fucking. And I couldn't believe it. I knocked on the door and said, "What's going on?" They said, "This is a whorehouse. We're having a yard sale." Now, see, that's fun.
Hey, see, that's what you got to do at the end of it. Give people permission to laugh. What? Who's still? Steven.
What happened?
Steven did that. Now, did you see?
Oh.
Did you notice that while Steven was getting out of his chair? Did you see? We caught him getting out of his chair. He was going to get himself a drink or something. He's scamming this whole thing. It's all just made up.
Listen, man. It's just a shtick for stage, man. I had to find a niche. You know, old guys are cornered, black guys are cornered. Weird middle-aged guys are cornered. So I had to find something.
All right.
So you're literally in a wheelchair?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Do you roll around on your wife?
No, but we like to play drive-through, so it works out.
Hey, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if you've heard, but there's a Ronald Reagan biopic coming out, and
Told you it wasn't me.
Hold on. I can't believe that Ron was just censored by the internet.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what he said. That just went blank. I heard nothing. What did you say?
I was going to say, I'm not sure if you heard, but there's a new Ronald Reagan biopic coming out. And a friend of mine was excited to see it. He gave me some free tickets, but it slipped my mind to go.
I like that. You remember my story about his daughter?
Patty, but no.
Patty Davis Reagan?
Patty Davis, yeah.
It's a long story, but she posed nude in Playboy just to make her father crazy. And she came on the show a bunch of times to promote the issue. And at the end of the year, Playboy had a huge party. And I was co-hosting with Jenny McCarthy. And on the way to the city, I knew there was going to be X amount of semi-celebrities there. So I wrote a little something about Patty Davis Reagan and about Gilbert Gottfried, about Grandpa Al Lewis, and whoever else was there. There was like 5 or 6 semi-whatever. And we get to this Wilbur Hall, I think it was, or whatever it's called. And it was like every Playboy party, they invite every male in Manhattan. And they say you're invited to a VIP party. So there's like 600 guys and 3 women, and it's just a shit show. So before, we're down below, and my friend Eric is doing a thing called hot takes. Do you remember there was a Playboy show on cable that was the video, the music videos that were too dirty or too hot for MTV. So he was producing the hot takes or whatever it was for the Playboy channel, and Jenny was the host of that. And that's why we were doing this thing upstairs together. So I'm down there and we're doing the interstitials. They're showing this, the music video with a girl flapping her boobs. And then me and Jenny are talking, blah, blah, blah. So at one point in between, I said, listen, I wrote a great joke on the way in here, but I'm not sure about it. And I told her the joke and she roared. She said, do that when we come back on camera. I said, you sure? And the guys, the cameraman, yeah, it's a killer. So we came back And I told the joke, and we all laughed our asses off. We go up to do the show, and me and Jenny are on a stage in the middle of 600 guys. Nobody can hear a word. We gave up on trying to do anything except just wave it and say, hello, thanks for coming. And we walked to go into what was called the VIP bar, but it was all the same. And the doors open, and I'm nose to nose with Patty Davis. And I knew her from her being, I think she was on the show like 3 times, because she was being in Playboy just to stick it up her father's ass because, you know, they were so estranged and they hated each other. What I didn't know is from the time that she posed for Playboy until the party in December, she had made up with her family. And now they're all lovey-dovey again. But who knew, right? And the doors open, and, you know, there's a million photographers and the Playmate of the Year and all these people. And I'm nose to nose with Patty Davis and Jenny and the Playmate of the Year. And, you know, I said, Patty, it's so nice to see you. You know, I wrote a joke about you on the way in here. And I told her the joke. And as I'm just getting to the end of the joke, I realized that your joke was funny to every person in the world except her. Because I didn't know that they had made up. And her face went white and she went off on me and flash bulbs are flapping and it was just insane. I would never talk so. Hey, oh, geez, I'm sorry. I didn't. It's Thursday night. It's Thursday night. Friday morning, we come on the air and nothing happens. I'm like, thank God I skated, you know, because that could have been crap. Meanwhile, the show, it was 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. Of course, it wasn't in the paper on Friday. I live on Long Island. I'm a drunk. I'm not paying attention to the New York Post. I come into work on Monday morning, and the mics go on, and Robin goes, he did it again, Howard. And Howard says, what? He insulted the president's daughter. And then they start saying, it's in the Post that Jackie upset Patty Davis Reagan and blah, blah, blah. And they start berating me. And I mean, they're at me full tilt. Robin and Howard and Gary, maybe Fred, you know, they're all ganging up. And after 5 or 10 minutes, Gary comes in. He says, Howard, the listeners are all calling in, Howard. They all want to hear the joke that he told her. And he said, all right, Jackie, tell the joke. So I told the joke. And I'm telling you, Howard was biting his lip. And the joke was, hey, Patty, I heard you were the first person to know that your father had Alzheimer's disease because he started returning your phone calls. And it was just so hysterical. And they're biting their lips and they're trying to insult me and tell me how rude and inappropriate I am. And meanwhile, everybody's dying. It's the funniest joke they ever heard. And that went on for a whole day. And the next day, she called up the show and started in on me. And to me, it was still funny. And I just laughed through the whole time. And I got her, Howard, Robin, they're all attacking me. I'm like, you're all so full of crap. You didn't speak to them for 5 years. Shut up, you know. But that was just classic, just classic fun. Oh,
that's the kind of thing I would do. I mean, sticking my foot in my mouth is definitely right in my wheelhouse, but it wouldn't have been funny. But the thing is, she probably would have laughed at that joke 6 months before that, right? She would have thought it was hysterical.
Of course. But it was in the Post. I'll send you the picture. If I got a picture, it's me and Jenny McCarthy and the Playmate of the Year, who was spectacular, and Patty. And the three of us look like we're in heaven. And she looks like somebody's set her twat on fire. She's like, just so fun. Just so funny. That was one of the classics. And you'll never hear that. I'm sure that's never going to play again on the Stern Show, you know, which is a shame.
I'm sure somebody has tapes it. This is the thing with with those old Sterns. I don't know. People were taping them and now making YouTube videos out of them and all that stuff. I think every word that was ever said on the classic Stern Show is now available somewhere online. It's just
that's good news for me because I have a couple people that we're actually getting it together to rent a space. Because I have every note I ever wrote for Howard. I have 15 years of every note that he ever said on the air. And we're gonna package them, and this guy is going to sell them. And he's a guy that's been selling memorabilia for 30 years. And he really thinks his friends have all said, no, you can make a real lot of money selling those. And I'm like, hey, take them. If you can make 5 cents with them, I'm in.
I don't know anything about business, but here's the thing: you did that show at Long Island Music Hall of Fame, Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. They had the Billy Joel exhibit there, which is going to be gone soon. A classic Howard Stern exhibit at the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame it's like a no-brainer. They should do that and include everything you got in that room with you right now.
But I can't lay claim to this is the Howard Stern show memorabilia. I could sell these things because they're mine. But as far as doing a whole show, I have had dreams that everybody does all these wacky shows. I've always wanted to have a show that's like an art gallery, only they're just like pages with a single joke on them all around the place, and maybe some iPads where you hear the joke, where you put on those things when you're walking around an art gallery and tells you, what you're looking at. And I just think that would be so fun because they're usually so stuffy and shitty, just I see people walking around laughing. I think it would be a hoot,
Carlos Valencia? He's a stand-up comedian who does comedy by proxy, which is it's fucking hysterical to me because it's so bad, and he does it intentionally.
He's not the guy that got in trouble. He's the guy that got in trouble in California for stealing. That guy?
No, that's Mencia, Carlos Mencia. Carlos Valencia. He does comedy by proxy. He has the audience write jokes, and then he reads them completely dry, like with no inflection or anything, and it's just bad jokes, and it's just one after another, but they're so bad that they're funny, and his just the faces he's making, it's really it's for me, but a lot of people don't get it. They're just like, what the fuck, this is not funny stuff.
I love that. Years ago I did a show in remember the Broadway, I think it's probably there, Al Martin died, but the Broadway Comedy Club on 53rd and 8th. And I did a show there for like a couple months, and it was it wasn't really like that, but can you see this? Do you see the wheel? You probably can't see the wheel. Can you see the wheel back there?
I know you have the wheel. We've seen the wheel before. I don't see it now.
Well,
oh yeah, there it is.
I did the show, and I printed out a whole bunch of jokes in large type. And I had the wheel spinning that had all these different categories, and probably now 10 of the categories you have to X over, and the deal was you could come up on stage and spin the wheel. It cost $10 to get in. You spin the wheel. If it came up on a certain joke, a certain type of joke, and you could tell a joke on that subject, you'd get $20. If you just did a joke on any subject off the top of your head, you got $10. Or I'd give you a joke to read, and if you read a joke, you got $10. But you could only do it once, so the best you could do is break even for coming in for the night. And people loved it. And I had so many people on stage reading these, they're my jokes like from my albums and stuff, and they're filthy and crazy, and they're spinning the wheel. And, I had a lady, a little person, a midget showed up. And I told her, if you'll give me the finger, I'll cross midget off of the wheel and put little person. Did I ever send you that picture? There's this little woman pointing at where it says little people, and she's got little fingers like sausages. And the shows were so great, and I've got some of them on tape. And it just seems like it should have been an immense hit, but it was a Monday night in August, But when you include the crowd, it's always fun. They're up there reading a joke. There's no pressure on them because they're reading what's there already. And then some people, of course, try and tell their own jokes, and they're usually pretty horrible. But it's fun, I get a girl up there. It's a miracle I'm not in jail,
Yeah.
So
now, back in the not too long ago, a couple of years ago, I was trying to cause shit between you and Tony. Tony's not listening right now; he's off this weekend, this whole week, about the inventing of podcasting and what we're doing, all that shit. But now you play. I wanted to ask you about this because with Kumia,
Tony, who's Tony?
Tony, knock him dead, Tony. Tony Walker. Tony Walker goes.
Inventing podcasting. What do you mean?
Inventing podcasting. Remember, he was giving you shit about you and Bales doing your thing, and he was like, "This is my thing." Like he invented podcasting. I was just trying to make more.
No, he was saying it was my idea for Jackie to tell stories on a podcast. Yeah. I'm like,
right.
Hello, that's my idea to go on stage and tell jokes,
But now last week you posted this thing that was like a pilot for Kumia's Compound Radio Network, which it seemed like whatever happened with that. It sounded like there was going to be a Jackie show, and there wasn't.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. Anthony's agent at the time or manager was a guy named Bob Eatman, and he was a show business lawyer. And I went to Anthony. That was in Anthony's, his basement in Roslyn. This is, I don't know what year it was, but it must have been at least 10 years ago, maybe more. And he said, "Listen, I think I really want you to do a show on my, I think his network. I don't think it was Compound Media yet. I don't think." And he said, "We'll do a test show." And I said, "I would love that." And I went in, and I was in heaven. Because I'm sitting there and there's a big screen behind me, and everything I talked about, whoever was working the board was going on the internet and finding pictures and finding drops. And I'm just going on and taking phone calls, and all the phone calls were positive and asking nice questions. And it was like I died and went to heaven. And Anthony said, "Wow, everybody loved it. The feedback is terrific." He said, "We'll start off slow. I'll give you like $200 a week or $200 a month to do it once a month," whatever the offer was. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was certainly so much fun. But I hadn't written my book yet. And I got a contract from this Bob Eatman that must have been 20 pages. And at the time, I was not about to hire a lawyer to go through this. And all I could think of, that's all I'd have to do is go on that show and tell a couple of my stories, and then try and put out a book and have this Bob Eatman come after me and say, no, we own those stories now, which I don't know if that, I just said, you know what? I just passed on it. And I probably shouldn't have, because, his whole thing became, and it was, I can't tell you, you could see on that video how much I was enjoying myself. That's a long time ago.
You saw the Kramer at the episode of Seinfeld when Kramer sold all his stories to that guy, and then he couldn't tell his own stories, and Elaine was going to the bar. "You can't tell that story. That's not your story anymore."
And that's exactly, who knew, but that was so much fun, There were so many things I did that I don't know why I don't do my own podcast. I'm out of my mind, because like years and years ago, after Howard first started on Sirius, and they went to Sirius, K-Rock became Free FM. Do you remember that? For about 5 minutes, K-Rock was called Free FM. And I went and got interviewed by Penn Jillette. And after an hour, he said, "God, that was so great." And him and his wife, Emily, said, "Will you stay and do another hour?" I'm like, "Sure." And it was just so killer. But I just can't get it together to do my own stupid podcast. I don't know whether I'm lazy or chicken or whatever, But it's got to be fun to just sit there and go on and on and on. You know me. I'd love to talk about myself, but that's the problem.
All right. Stand-up memory, 7 p.m. Wednesday nights. That is where you can find Jackie. Now, but before we go, I got to ask you this. Klein is coming on. Is he coming out to Plainview to the studio? Or
No. It took us a couple of tries to find a date, but I was very excited, and he remembered me. He addressed, "Hey, Jackie, I can't do it this month, but I'll do it next month." Wow. I was not really friends with him. One time I was in my attic, in my office, in 1980, and the phone rang, and I answered, and it was Rodney. He said, "Look, you got to help me there. Klein is driving me fucking nuts here. This fucking guy's driving me crazy." And he called me like a pal to complain about Robert Klein, and I'm sitting there going, I guess I'm kind of cool. This is kind of fun. Yeah, all Klein wants to do is comb his fucking hair. And we tell this fucking Jew to stop combing his hair. Oh, God, he was just fucking wonderful, Klein didn't know me from Adam,
Yeah.
Fun. Great fun.
Well, I look forward to that one. That's gonna be he probably will. He hijacked my show, but I loved it because I'm a super huge Klein fan. I always was. I mean, his early specials were and his albums were just fucking killer. He's up there with all the best of them in my opinion. So that's going to be
well, yeah. He paved the trail. He definitely paved the trail.
Yeah.
Great character. Great character.
All right, it's time to go. Jokeland.com. Tomorrow night, you're going to go over to Fire Island. Make sure you bring your own butt plug just in case. It's at
Castaways in Ocean Beach is the name of the town.
With Peter Bales, Professor Peter Bales.
Peter Bales. And Muggs Bar and Grill on September 21st, and the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas, October 10, 11, 12. And they're supposed to shoot a TV show here, but I haven't heard from them in a week, so I'm scared that went out the window. But I love that. That's such easy money. Yeah.
Like another TV drama thing, or like they did Blue Bloods at your house, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I can't talk about that. But
one last thing, but we can talk about that.
I'm doing the Raz. Speaking of Fire Island, I'm doing the Raz Room in New Hope, Pennsylvania, which is the Fire Island of Pennsylvania.
Oh, very cool. Fire Island.
Oh, and Uncle Vinny's. I'm doing the Dunellen Theater. I got to plug that.
But one more that we need to plug. Start buying tickets now. It's not till October 19th at the Brokerage. The best comedy. It's a part of the Governor's Comedy Network. But in my opinion, it's the best of the three venues. The room sound system there is just great. It's a very intimate, smaller version of Gov's, but a great room. You're going to be there on October 19th with Professor Peter Bales. That's the one people should.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite club to work. It's it's so tight. You can reach down and touch the woman in front on the head, and
that's what happens when you touch women on the head without consent.
Yeah, you got to get consent, or else they bounce you off the internet when you.
That was a warning cancel. The next time it's permanent.
All right.
Oh,
no. You think TikTok doesn't fuck around? Ooh, Lord.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for getting up early on a Tuesday. Tomorrow night, it's Castaways. That's the most important one. Tomorrow night, go take a boat over there. Actually, get the boat from Bayshore or Patchogue and get the boat over, the ferry over to Castaways. Just tell them you just want to go to Castaways.
Nice to see all you fellas. Nice to see you. And one thing, I always tell the same thing. If anybody wants to drop me an email, jokeland@AOL.com. Most of the emails I get say, you don't answer these. And I write back, yes, I do. And that's the extent of the exchange.
Or go to cameo.com and look up Jackie. Oh, there's a link right from Jokeland. Jokeland.com.
Hey, are you in touch with Cycling Frog?
No.
I think we might be getting a sponsor. You know who they are, right?
Yeah.
I did 2 of them last night. It's fantastic. Wow.
Good for you.
It's salsa with weed in it. Weed in it. So gentle.
Yeah. So gentle.
That's what people say about having sex with man.
His hands were soft and supple. Anyway, thanks for being here. Have a great day. It's time to say goodbye. I got to kick all these guys out. Thanks for being here, Jackie. Yeah, jokeland.com, folks. You guys, get out of my room. GD kicked himself out, that bastard. Anyway, it's just me, and I'm over here all alone. It's time to say goodbye. Don't forget to turn on your radio. We'll be back tomorrow probably with authors or something. I'm not going to bother looking it up. I don't even know who's on the show tomorrow, if we're having a show tomorrow. Go to jokeland.com.
Matt, I had a question for Jackie. Is it too late to ask him?
It is. He's gone.
Okay, never mind.
I actually have a question. Oh, never mind. Okay. Yeah, okay.
All right. I have a question for you guys. Why do you keep popping in late like that? Jackie's
it's because we enjoy your company and we enjoy the fans and we want them to have as much as they can. But
I'm trying to tell people to turn on their radio and come back tomorrow for a show that we don't know who's going to be on. Okay, that's it. Bye for now. Is Comey's ship really sinking? I don't know about that. Just because he merged with Kevin, the communist, the Nazi, whatever he is.
to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen.